It's hard to find a greater rivalry in the SANFL. North Adelaide and Glenelg have delivered a set of milestones that have kept historians happy for decades.
20 metres out, straight in front of goal, it's through. Oh, that was beautiful play by Glenelg.
But in the 21st century, the premierships are just a distant memory. Both teams have had a good crack at it. Jars left for the West, having succumbed to the Doggies' dominance in 2007. And in 2008, Mark Micken's challenge was met with a similar response.
Well done to your footy club, and we've got to go away, learn from it and come back much better.
And in 2012, they are much better. Chris Massey's new-look Tigers drew first blood over Westies, while under Josh Franco, North's 2012 campaign got off to a horror start, beaten by a revitalised Panthers squad ready to take on the world. It's a history bottled under extreme pressure, and it continues today from the Prospect Oval as North takes on Glenelg on Grandstand.
Welcome to Prospect on a beautiful afternoon for football for North Adelaide against Glenelg. And these two sides, North Adelaide with Josh Franco in his second year as coach and Chris Massey technically in his first year as coach.
Yeah, two up-and-coming coaches, both have great knowledge on the game and they're in charge of a couple of teams looking for a victory today.
Good history between these clubs. In the early 70s, it was Glenelg which won just its second grand final, 1973. We're going to have a look at that at three-quarter time, but right now we'll talk about how they've gone this season. And North Adelaide, well, they took on South Adelaide in round two here at the Prospect Oval. And South Adelaide, a little bit hard to know what happens with them. They play a first half and then not a second, and in this case they played a second half and not a first. Yeah, they want to get 4 quarters of competitive footy, but it was a good game. North were in it for a long way, but they'd be disappointed they didn't win that one, and today they'll be out to avenge that loss. Andrew Ainger here kicking one of his 7 goals for the match, and clearly having a key forward's a big help in the SANFL. Yeah, and Clint Alloway is probably the best key forward we've got in the competition and has been for a few years, so looking forward to seeing how he goes about it today. But he'll need some help, and North Adelaide, although they finished 8th last year, were the second highest scoring team in the competition, so they know how to find the goals. Well, you raise an interesting point there, because North Adelaide lost 13 games by an average of 14 points in 2011, and what do you know, they lost by 15 points in this particular match. Well, let's move on to the games last Saturday night. We'll start with the Bulldogs against the Redlegs out at the Ponderosa, and it was 2003 the last time that Norwood was able to grab a victory on Central's home ground, and what do you know, they did it last weekend. Fantastic victory for Norwood. They've been a very good side, very competitive under Nathan Bassett. This is one they wanted to get, and they've put it away early in the season. 20 points was the final margin. Look, there is a suspicion that they are really in trouble, Centrals. It's unbelievable. They've played 12 grand finals in a row, and every year you think it might be the end of their dynasty, but it never is. But this year, they're looking increasingly vulnerable. They don't seem to have a lot of forwards, and they've only kicked 7 goals in the first 2 games of this year that they've competed in. So there's that final score, 20 points the margin. Not a huge scoring game, as you can tell from that scoreline. 9 goals, 12 to 7 goals, 4. Well, Glenelg, for their trouble in round 2, they had for the first time lights at the, well, sufficient lights anyway, at the Glenelg Oval, and this is obviously a twilight game as it turns out. But yeah, they turned them on for the first time after a 6-year battle. They got a big crowd. They would have been very happy with that, and they would have been very happy with the result, because there was a distinct feeling around the league that they would struggle this season. Yeah, there's been a big turnover of players, over 20 players. Chris Massey has said he just wants players who want to be part of the revolution, if you like, and to come out with a win against a formidable opponent in West Adelaide, who do start seasons off well, was a great result for Glenelg, but they need to keep it up and back it up today. Well, we get to West Adelaide and their start in just a minute, but if we look at that 22-point victory for the Tigers, they'd be very happy with that, and they come here this afternoon a little bit confident. Talking about Westies, let's move on to round 3, and it started on Holy Thursday, and there was a hell of a fight at the Richmond Oval. Yeah, once again it's on. Everyone wants to get at Central, and this time Westies had a chance to do it.
fantastic victory. And as we said, they started the year off well last year. They've started off well with 2 wins out of 3 games this year and hoping to keep that successful run going.
Have a good long look at that at quarter time. Centrals, though, 0-2 for the first time since 1990. The other match, a twilight match played down at Noarlunga on Good Friday. Interesting experiment for the SANFL. A good one for the Panthers because of the crowd. A bad one for them because they lost.
Yeah, fantastic for the Panthers, though, as you said, to make this night their own, the Easter Friday. But Sturta jumped out the blocks, haven't they, with Seamus Maloney as their new coach. They're 2 wins already, and I think that's the perfect game score, 16-12.
A full look again at that match at quarter time with Sturt getting home there by 13 points. There's the ladder with the partly completed round 3 action with Western Sturt leading the way from Norwood, Glenelg and Port. Most of the sides still, of course, have to play this weekend, or else you're Port Adelaide, in which case you've got to bye, and they would be disappointed with their performances thus far, contrasting as they are. Westies beating Central District, that was a big win. Sturt getting over South Adelaide, and then our match this afternoon, North against Glenelg. We'll obviously keep you in touch with all the action from the Norwood Oval between the Redlegs and the Eagles. And as I mentioned there, Port Adelaide having the bye. A couple of interesting reports come out in the last couple of weeks. Port Adelaide against the Eagles in round 1 at Thebarton Oval. Look closely. Sikalella tossed away because he delivered that one. Did you see it? It was very quick to the player on the ground. He got a week, Justin Sikalella.
Bit undisciplined by Sika there. He'd regret doing that, and he's paying the price with a week out.
And this one is Chris Kane with a big tackle, and I thought more back slam than anything, his player into the ground, but he got a week for that.
Yeah, they're making an early statement, the SANFL, and they won't tolerate sling tackles like that.
Yeah, so that was all the action from round 1 in terms of reports, and gee, we turn to this afternoon's game, North and Glenelg. Great history, as we said. We'll have a look at the 1973 grand final a little later on. But the most interesting statistic out of all those, Glenelg won 11 of the past 12 encounters between these two clubs. But North Adelaide's 1 win did come here last season at Prospect.
Yeah, and they want to go back to back. That's an incredible record that Glenelg has, but I think they're going to be up against it today, and I like the look of North Adelaide at home.
Let's go down to Benny Knights on the boundary, and Ben, North Adelaide already with the axe out.
They certainly were, Neil. They weren't happy, or Josh Franco, more importantly, wasn't happy with that capitulation last week in the last quarter. Wielding the axe, Hall, Hamby and Fring all gone from last week's team. Big inclusion, however, Matty Wright coming in. He was the travelling emergency with the Crows last week. Didn't get a game, so his first game of SANFL football this week. As we saw, a big game for James Allen, the 3-time Magarey medalist, running through his banner today. And Josh Franco, look, after last week, I spoke to him and said, look, I'm guessing, Josh, that a 4-quarter effort is the main focus for today.
Yeah, look, it is, and I think if you broke the game down last week, we started pretty well, and I thought we controlled most of the game for the first 3 quarters. Then we just imploded. So I think you're spot on. It's a 4-quarter effort, and just run the game out and then hopefully get the score on the board.
An improvement for today, what are we looking for?
Well, look, I think it basically comes down to that, and the message to the playing group is just to give a consistent effort for the whole time. And, you know, if the thing gets tight, and the game does get tight as far as the scoreboard's concerned, then just stick to what we know and what makes us good.
I think North are capable of kicking a bigger score than Glenelg today, and they'll welcome back Johnny Boris, who kicked 8 goals last time these two teams met. And, of course, Clint Alloway, who's just a fantastic centre forward, come full forward for the Roosters.
And Knights, we talk about the axe at North Adelaide. How about the player changeover for Chris Massey at Glenelg?
Absolutely, Neil. 20-odd players from the senior list from last year not present at Glenelg this year. So a massive changeover in players. Speaking of player changes, Stephen Salapak will be well welcomed back into the Glenelg lineup, slotting into the centre today. And Chris Massey, look, with that massive turnover of players, just keen to get game time into some of his young guys and some of his returning older guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to have every player at the club, I definitely know in own mind that they're committed to the cause, and last week was a positive start.
And improvements today, we're still looking to keep that ball rolling throughout the season?
Yeah, no doubt. At any level, it's important to have that consistency, and we're definitely looking forward to a positive attitude from our boys today.
Yeah, good sides build from their defence, and Glenelg had the most scored against them last year, so they'll be looking to have a better defensive effort today. Also look to the forward line to Lewis Hender, who kicked 5 last week, who needs some help from Rory Kirkby today if Glenelg are going to win.
At night, the conditions are perfect for anybody with, blonde highlights like yourself?
Very harsh, Neil. It's a lovely day down here for football. 20 degrees, partly cloudy is the forecast. There's just a little bit of breeze swinging up from the southwest. It's favouring the northern end, so maybe Handa can get on the end of a few today and boom them from outside the 50 at the northern end.
Thanks for that, Nida, as we just look at the Glenelg players huddling in. I'll tell you what, I'm going to struggle with a few names early. There are a lot of new faces in there.
Yeah, there are, and it's exciting times for Glenelg with a big turnover. I'm looking for North Adelaide today, Neil. Won 6 of their last 21 first quarters, and I think you need to get away to a good start. History will tell you if you want to win games of footy. So one area Josh Franco will be looking at is for North Adelaide to be fast starters today and look for them to be in front at quarter time. If they can be, I think they can hold on and win.
Big attitude from both clubs of you got to change to get better.
Absolutely, and in those areas, we said both sides weren't great defensively last year. Glenelg were probably the worst side, and certainly North were the third worst. So they want to improve in their defensive end. We know North can kick some goals up forward with Alloway and the like. I don't know who's going to kick the goals for Glenelg this year. It looks to be an area that they need to improve and improve quickly, or improve as the year goes on.
Just on that and improving, only 38 inside 50s against South Adelaide, but they kicked 15 goals, 14 North Adelaide in that match. So it was good and bad at the same time.
Yeah, well, historically they're very efficient when they go inside 50, so you'd like to see that happen again. But it starts with your midfield. They need to win the ball out there. With Wright and Allen today, it'll give them the best opportunity to get the ball in and give their tall forwards best chance of scoring.
Well, as you can see, the players are just about to take up their position and hostilities about to get underway. And here's the hostile Chris Kendall to call it.
I'm a lover, not a fighter, Crossy, but hopefully we're not saying the same about the players there today. They need a big impact here, the Glenelg Footy Club. Your umpires today, Michael Avon, Andrew Crosby, Michael Schramm. Really looking forward to this game. As Neil mentioned, big turnover for the Glenelg Football Club in the off-season. Plenty of players departing Brighton Road, and North Adelaide a bit disappointed with last week. South Adelaide running right over the top of them there. Lockie Button starting in the ruck for them. It's an interesting move for the Tigers. McGinty going up forward. Lockie Button and I share one thing in common in football. Both played at the Strathalbyn Footy Club. Button's back in the SANFL, leading the rucks here for Glenelg. Very important clash for both teams early on. Button opposed to Craig. Craig gets the tap down. Button tries to farm it out. Allen's wrapped up in a tackle straight away by Tearley. Umpire comes in. We're going to have a ball up.
This side, tossing up.
Just watch here and see if Glenelg choose to tag the reigning McGarry medalist in Allen.
Bradley gets the clearance away for the Tigers. He's coughed it straight up though, cut off by the Roosters, and Thompson now to relieve from half-back by hand. Goes to Allen over the top in his 100th game. Moving smoothly through the midfield's Bennett. Gets the kick on his way up towards the centre-half forward line. Coming out to meet it there was Rudolph, just overshoots him, and Button relieves at the back for the Tigers. He's looking out there for young Tommy Holmes. Come back from the southeast after a stint down there. Well cut off here by Bradley. Keeping it on the outer side of the Prospect Oval. Taken at the back here by Trembath. Wheels around, kicks into the forward 50. Looking out there for to be Hender. Hender swings around and Hender gets the first goal. Lovely start there for the youngster Rocket, and the Glenelg open out to a 1-goal lead.
Yeah, Hender is an opportunist. He can also take a mark and kick a goal. Just watch back here. Trembath brings the ball in. And Hender, just clever, takes the ball, turns on his preferred left foot and starts off in the same form he was in last week. Great goal to Lewis Hender.
It's amazing, isn't it? Left footers, they just turn around on that arc and nobody seems to go that way.
Yeah, it's unreal. You think you'd be rehearsing it if you're going to play on him all week to run to that side, but he'll learn from that.
So a good start for the Bays. Allen almost with a clearance. Tenace has got him. He's got his free hand and grabbed that as well, and the umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt for the ball up. Jimmy Allen, what a record. In his 100th game today, he's got 3 McGarry medals and 5 best and fairest. Didn't get the ball that time. Tenace clears it. Thompson with the punch. The feeling Thompson may have ended up with a corky out of that as the ball slowly makes its way to the boundary line ahead of the players. Benny Knights, have a look at the North bench.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. Brett Backwell staying down here in the pine with Nathan Blee and Dale Armstrong.
Backwell, of course, another McGarry medalist. Also won a Liston trophy about 11 years ago now. Craig can't get possession, taken away from the ball. Umpire still calls it as play on. And the new captain of Glenelg, Ty Allen, is tied up and taken to the ground.
Looks like Bradley's running with Allen, with James Allen, boys, but it doesn't look like a tight tag. They just look to be opposing one another.
Right on the 50-metre arc for Glenelg. Comes down to Bradley, get the clearance away, but it was touched. Cut off by Thompson, but he's wrapped up straight away in a tackle. And they have a ball up. Jason Davenport affecting the tackle out there. Playing full-time down now at Glenelg. Stint with Port Power, of course. Allen tries to burst his way through at the stoppage. Good tackle from Craig. We're going to have another ball up. Inching closer to goal for the Roosters.
It's another good matchup, boys. Ty Allen from Glenelg and Matthew Wright with North Adelaide.
So McGinty tries to get the tap down. Wright dispossessed. Another rolling stoppage. Ball spills out the back. Allen set up on straight away. Another ball up. Benny Knight's the Glenelg bench.
Thanks, Ty, James.
Yeah, absolutely. Brad Agnew on the side there with Stephen Salopek sitting in the middle. Jared Lyons, the other man on the Glenelg bench to start with.
Allen just hacks it away at the stoppage. Trying to burst his way through. There is Curran. Could have been taken high. He's been called holding the ball instead. A little bit unlucky sometimes in football. And the Roosters will relieve from half-back.
Matty Wright will take the free kick as the umpire doles out an explanation. So the Roosters come away through Delvins, and then he drops it short for Ivans. Two of the longer-term players here at Prospect. Luke Ivans spent a year overseas. He's back in the groove of things at Prospect. Ball comes to the front for the Bays and cleared out by Pitt. He goes out wide, and Ivans, courage, backs in. Didn't quite get it, but he was able to get the hand pass off to Keller. And then he receives one back, and they'll go across the centre to Clisby. And Clisby on this side of the ground has Allen roaming free, sort of. Hender pulls him up on the mark, and Jimmy Allen takes his time, and he goes back through the corridor. Bennett. The kick was wide off the side of the boot, and coming back and taking a strong mark was Milne. So he backs up and takes his time. Decides to go through the corridor again. Lyons.
Wait for it, wait.
Stop-start footy now from the Bays. Or Button it was, came and took the chest mark. Still just slightly forward of centre wing. 5 minutes gone. Glenelg with the only goal of the game to that man Lewis Hendry, just overran the ball then.
Advantage.
So advantage is paid to the Roosters, and they relieve down towards the half-forward line. Sitting up for it is Allaway. If he can get his way through, it's pretty close to holding the ball. No, not quite the last opportunity there, Rocket.
Yeah, we just have a look here. Clint Allaway really wanted to make a certainty of it, but Shaw equally adept and puts pressure on. Good decision by the umpire.
Price builds it back in. Craig gets the tap down. Tanase farms it away at the stoppage. Getting it away there is Salopek. Towards half-forward now for the Tigers. Trying to bust his way through his Trembath. And have another... That's holding the ball again. They're very quick on their holding the ball so far.
Yeah, it's a fiery start, boys. Both teams really competitive, and this is how you want to see games at this level.
So Roosters relieving off half-back. Mark taken out there cleverly by Lally. Goes further afield by hand to Holmes. Holmes puts it up and towards the attacking zone. Long lead from Kirkby. Just getting the hand in there is the Roosters. Tearley going back to Ivans. Ivans wheels back in again, and the 1-2 again. It ends up with Tearley once more. Sloppy kick. That's cut off out there by Lally at half-back.
Lally has a man on. And if they move this quickly, they can get a shot at goal. They get it down to Kirkby inside forward 50, about 40 from goal, but wide out. And right half forward. Maybe a little forward of right half forward. Kirkby prepared to have a look at the goals.
I think he fancies himself from here, boys. He's gone back very deliberately, as a tall forward should do.
Leading goal kicker of the Bay last season with 39. And he may just have come up short. He did, so the minor score for the Bays. 1-1-7 for North Adelaide yet to score.
George Thring's been doing the kicking in for North, or did last week, but certainly not playing today.
No, rather unlucky. We're fronted up in the reserves today, young Thring. Curran gets the punch in at the back for the Tigers and beats them over the boundary line.
Chris, I spoke to George Thring before the game. 2.5 years of senior football, and his first game he's missed in that time today.
Well, you'd say he'd be filthy on that, and he was very good in the twos too, for that matter, so his surgeon may be rather short. Just going on hands and knees there is Armstrong. Sits on top of Tanase. We're going to have a ball up. Over at the parade, it's Nord leading the Eagles by 12 points in last year's prelim final rematch. Nord have plenty to prove after the way they exited the finals last year. Should say Bennett. Cut off out here. Good work from the Tigers in the form of Mill. Crossed over from Hawthorn. A fair bit taller than his namesake Stephen at St Kilda. Brings it inboard. Taken by Shaw. Bit unlucky not to be playing for the Crows, I reckon, Sammy Shaw. Good strong mark taken out the back here by the Roosters. A relieve off half-back. Oh, good smother. Tigers getting plenty of numbers around the ball. Salopek at the bottom of the pack. Get it out in the 1-2 there is the big man in Curry. Spills to Allen. That's Ty. Handball's off. Kicks on its way into the forward line. They're looking for Hender at every opportunity. Let's be careful not to be too conscious of him. Trying to burst his way through there is Curry. We're going to have a ball up right on the 50-metre arc.
Salopek and Wright have already had an impact on the game for their respective teams, boys. Just their hardness around the ball, their tackles and second efforts.
Gee, Curry's a big kid, isn't he? Just lays the ball down. Bayes can't get away with it. Finally, it comes back. Curran slips it to Allen. He won't kick it too often. Bradley, though, has had plenty of kicks in this opening quarter, just astray with his snap for the minor score. And we're over 9 minutes in this opening quarter, and the Bays have taken a little bit of control of this match. 4-1 the inside 50s, 1-2-8 on the board.
It's a good start by Glenelg. This is what they need to do, get the ball inside 50 and give themselves a chance to score.
Looking for Curry at the front spot. Takes a good mark, former Swans ruckman. Goes off by hand to Allen. Why wouldn't you in the 100th game? He's looking to spot up Alloway here on the wing. Clever from Alloway getting the hand in. It just created the stoppage, but now it ends up with Holmes. Holmes wheels in just outside the 50. Spots up Salopek, too far out to score. Stephen Salopek is calling his teammates to come to him. He's going to have to unload to the hot spot. It's going to end up about 10 metres out from goal. Punch through there, rush behind. And 1-3-9 Glenelg, North Adelaide yet to score.
Just a rest there for Tommy Holmes, coming back to the club from down at Mount Gambier. Now, Brewster's slow to bring it in. Eventually, a dangerous kick. They've almost turned it over. They'll have to really crowd in, and they've done well to get out of there. Ivans, then Clisby. Clisby down this grandstand side of the ground. Punch came from Shaw from behind. Milne picked it up well, and then they spread the ball wide for Salopek. And then the run and gun is, well, it was a short kick, and Lyon called the play on after he received it from Davenport. Now Lyon goes back and gets it back to Davenport, twists, turns, straightens up, can easily kick this, gets it easily onto the boot, and a goal for Davenport.
Yeah, fantastic goal by Jason Davenport. He took the responsibility, he got the ball. Just look here, good play by Lyons, who came off the fence, one of the midfielders for the Bays, gave it to Davenport, he sized it up, he knew he was within range and that he could kick the goal, took that responsibility, and very good goal for Glenelg, the second for the day.
To ask Benny Knights at some point if he can find out if there's any significance to the hairdo there from Davenport. Very interesting.
Mate, everyone's trying to make a statement these days. It's just Jason Davenport's little statement to the crowd and to the supporters.
It's not unlike what Crossy's wearing up here. Ball's back in the centre. Tenace trying to get the clearance. He's set upon, but it's going to be a free kick to North Adelaide.
Thanks for making a comment of Neil's hair too, after the bag he gave me in the pre-game.
Yeah, we're back to 1-1 now, boys. Good mark taken out here by Ryswick. Spears it inboard. He was looking for Allen. It was just to his feet. Cleverly worked out by Curran. Goes back to Bradley. Heard the voice of Allen. Now Allen goes inboard to Salopek. He's being well corralled here by the Roos. He's just got time to get it away to Pitt. Last week's Star Search winner, I should say. Matty Wright, the late inclusion from the Adelaide Crows, gets it off by hand to Backwell, just beats him over the boundary line. Going to have a throw-in.
It's not a bad midfield for North when you've got Backwell and Allen, who are McGarry medal winners, and throw Wright into the mix.
Mouse Backwell, still got plenty of fans at the Bay. I was talking to a young fan before the game. She's got her North Adelaide jumper in Mouse's colours. G'day, Caitlin. Bennett set upon in a tackle there by Salopek, and we're going to have a ball up.
Put his head down.
Ball on centre wing. 12.5 minutes, opening quarter. North Adelaide box there. Backwell just diving on the ball, and he's besieged, and he's gone. Well, the Tigers got the mouse on that occasion, and now he's given away another 25. So McGinty, the big man, will take the free kick.
Really undisciplined by Backwell then. He didn't have to do that, and he's cost his side some ground.
McGinty deciding to go back, and that's the big man mistake. Alloway, they've got runners. He can go to Young. Young with a fumble, but he gets back and decides to go, well, further back. Both sides not wanting to go forward at the moment. Dangerous hand pass there. Lyon comes in and then turns it over as well under pressure. And now Wright looks for Alloway, goes over the back, opposed to 4. There were 4 Tigers around him, and not surprisingly, the Tigers come away with it. Shaw with an interesting decision to take the bounce, and now he's turned it over to Bennett, and Bennett got away with playing on, surely.
He probably didn't deviate his line, but he certainly looked like he was playing on. But he's got it into the right hands. Matthew Wright is a fantastic kick for goal, and they look forward to this opportunity to score his first goal for this SANFL season.
And Matty Wright, who this last week didn't play any footy at all, travelled all the way to the Gold Coast, not for a holiday. Well, maybe it was, I don't know, but he was the emergency for the Crows. And the Crows, as we know, don't have too many injuries at the moment. In fact, I think officially it's 0.
Oh, look, he's knocking on the door. He's a really good player at AFL level and needs to stamp his authority on this game today.
Right. Hangs it to the right just slightly, and the ball comes back nicely for the goal. So you can hear the Rooster fans up and excited. Their first goal of the afternoon. It's Glenelg 2-3-15, North Adelaide 1 goal straight.
Some players just know how to find the goals, and we see here it was pretty lucky then by Bennett, but he found Wright, gave it to the right man, no pun intended, and he goes back, and he's such a great kick for goal and finishes off as you'd expect.
14 minutes to get their first impact on the scoreboard here, the Roosters. Margin still only 9 points, though. Glenelg haven't hurt them in front of the scoreboard, really. 5 scoring shots. McGinty and Craig. The former gets the tap down. Roosters should better get her away now through Delvins. Tearley, he's wrapped up in a tackle straight away. Good work in there from Big McGinty. All up. A look there from the big man.
Great pressure here by a big fella to follow up like that, and McGinty, good tackle.
Yeah, Chris Massey will love that. McGinty's one of those players that's just struggled to cement his spot in the team, really. Allen gets the centre clearance now for the Tigers. At the back of the pack, should be able to sit and does. Ivans out here. Oh, he's waiting for Backwell. Backwell's going to have to get the punch in. Good discipline stuff. Going to be a throw-in about 80 metres around from the Glenelg goal. Look here at the mouse. Yep. Copybook stuff.
Great start to the game, boys. We said it's really competitive out there, and Glenelg winning a little bit more out of the centre has just given them that advantage.
Sitting at the back here for Ty Allen. He's been very busy in this opening term. Looks to go long and deep into the 50. Ivans tried to get the punch down, but it's been called too high. Free kick, advantage. Reed should slam it home. You bet your bottom dollar he does. Goal there to Glenelg. They open out now to a 15-point lead.
So it's the stoppage work where the difference is. Glenelg winning it out of the centre and winning it from boundary throw-ins. We see here the skipper Ty Allen takes the ball, just goes long to a dangerous area, which worries the opposition. Free kick given away by Lukey Ivans, and Reed takes advantage and kicks a good goal, and Glenelg's third for the quarter.
Got to remember also, Rob, that Glenelg are missing Tom Logan from their team last week. He was named 2nd or 3rd best for them, and you know, I'm guessing he had a pretty big impact in that game, and today they seem to be doing very well out of the middle.
Yeah, they do, and against quality opposition as well.
And right on cue, North Adelaide take it away from the middle. Delvins, though, goes sideways. There are goalposts over there on the boundary line. There are not, I can assure you. James Craig with a lovely left-handed tap. Craig will go on the ruck again now. He's had an interesting history, James Craig. Recruited by the Crows, but he just couldn't get on the park with hamstring problems. Here's Allen. Goes across the square. Dangerous. Back to Allen from Young, and then down to half forward. He looks for Alloway, just takes it with his body. Clisby was very good. Then Tearley on his left leg, puts it out in front of Backwell. Lally comes, gets a better bounce, takes it to the boundary line. Smart play by the Glenelg defender. Just a quick look at the score from the parade, and it's a 25-point margin opened up by the Redlegs. And could we have a situation where the grand finalists of last year start 0-2? I wonder when was the last time that happened. The Eagles haven't even scored Meanwhile, the Bays are preventing the Roosters from scoring. Mules.
He gets the clearance away. He's looking out there for Bradley. Overshoots all of them. Next in the line will be the goal kicker, Reid. Goes off by hand to Holmes. Keeping it on the outer side of the prospect oval. Good mark from Bradley. Bradley's been busy early. Chipping over the top. Got a player moving in space. They go long and deep into attack now, the Tigers. Minor score.
Probably could have done a little bit better than that. Glenelg were a couple of leads offering, but chose to take the shot himself and ended up with a point.
So the Roosters make a mistake from the kick end, and Lewis Hinder, he is a left footer. That's the only consolation, if you like, you're a Rooster fan. He's tucked in the left forward pocket.
2 more metres, 1 more.
The first reaction is interesting. Hinder looked to give off quickly. He's now going back to have a shot, and he is a very good kick for goal, but it doesn't come more difficult than this for a left footer from that position.
Umpire insisting that he start his run up from against the fence, basically.
A little bit of breeze here, right to left.
Hinder wanted to give it off and didn't worry about the breeze. He gave it to Reid.
Gee, Reid started off in lucky fashion almost. He's opportunistically kicked a goal after a free kick was paid. The ball's bounced over the back and he's got it. Now he's just picked up a kick in front of goals, 20 metres out with no opposition. That shouldn't be allowed to happen through North Adelaide.
So Reid, just a question of accuracy, and it was spot on, wasn't it? So another goal for the Bays. They've made a very good start. As we said, it's been a tough contest, but just their vital clearances going the Bays' way.
This is a terrible kick in, and Lewis Hender's done well, just sitting in his zone position. He never wanted to have a shot, which you would have thought seemed pretty obvious, and Reid's taken advantage of that. Good kick by Hender, great finish, good team footy, and Chris Massey would be very happy with this start. Glenelg 4-4 to 1 goal in this first quarter.
Certainly the show of the Allens out there at the moment. Ty 5 disposals for Glenelg, James 7 for North Adelaide. Corey Ogue will be joining us on stats today, doing a fantastic job. Ball's back in the centre. Button just got his hand in. Riswick trying to affect it. Craig gets the kick away. He's looking for Allaway out here at centre half forward. Oh, that's clever work in there from Pitt. Just gets the handball away to Bradley. Now he goes back to Lally. He's got time to get the handball away to Tenace. Tenace being well corralled. Lally, he's going to have to switch across the ground. The traditionalists will hate that. He's looking for Shaw. Needs to get a kind bounce. Doesn't. Physics is not his friend today, and we're going to have a ball in about 40 metres around from the Roosters' goal.
Glenelg's defensive end with Lally, Shaw and Milne have started really well. They're 3 key players and defending well at this stage.
Curry and Button. Former gets the tap down. Curran off to Rudolph. Rudolph was out there looking for Reid. Beats them over the boundary line. It's going to be a free to the Roosters.
Right, we are. It's fine, Glenelg. Yep.
Bringing it back in will be Tearley. Spins inboard. Riswick.
Not yet.
Need to try and move it on fairly quickly, the Roosters, because Glenelg are dropping plenty of numbers back. Next in the line will be Blee. His first disposal today. Nathan Blee chips over the top where Clisby takes it and goes. Clisby wheels around, puts it up towards true half forward. Terrible kick. That's cut off straight away by Tommy Holmes. He's got time to go, and he tips it over the top, where the next is Trembath.
Trembath forced to go back. Now he has to make a very precise kick down the line to Hender, and he does so. Hender looks, waits. Salopek gives him the short option. He goes over that. Oh, gee, that had to be spot on. That would be one of the greatest kicks of all time if he'd managed to make that stick. That was one of the worst. Right, he went back into the centre as well. Away they go through Riswick now. Riswick will run through the centre and use his pace. You'd think he'd take on Button, but he didn't have to. He hands it off, and then Bennett deep inside forward 50. Not the greatest of kicks. It bounces well for the left foot of Tearley. He doesn't kick it well, does he? As a result, it comes off to Rudolph. And he drops it in short for Lally, and then Curran was running, and gee, there were some mistakes now coming. There's no doubt about that. North Adelaide will come back the other way. The 1-2, and then the shot towards goal. Pulled down and knocked away by the former skipper in Mules to Davenport. And now they can go back through the corridor. Glenelg, finally we get some carefully worked play and some good skills, and Holmes goes wide. And Reid turns around. He's found some space in this game, and then Reid up the half forward. That'll be a free kick. And Kirkby will take it. And he's quick to play on. And inside 50, he drops it short for Trembath on the lead. And finally, some precision.
Yeah, that was fantastic work by Glenelg. They pushed their numbers back, so they outnumbered North Adelaide in their back half. But the way they worked the ball through the corridor and then held it up to find space. We just look here, and you see that left foot kick. Just perfect. And Trembath now gets an opportunity to go back and try for Glenelg's 5th goal for the quarter.
We do know he's a very good kick, Trembath. He can kick the ball a long way, and they are favoured by what breeze there is, the Bays, in this opening quarter, just in case you're wondering. And Trembath makes no mistake at all. And the Bays have 5 goals on the board. 5 goals forward, 1 goal straight.
Once again, an area North Adelaide need to improve. They've won 6 of their last 21 first quarters, and they're right behind the 8 ball here. Certainly going to lose another one. See how Glenelg moved the ball out of the corridor. Found Reid, who's been playing really well. He gets it in quickly to Kirkby, gets the free kick. And then sized it up to Trembath, who, as Neil said, is a very good kick for goal. Kicks Glenelg's 5th, and this has been a fantastic fast start by Glenelg, and that's what you need to give yourself every chance of winning these games of footy.
Wonder how close tonight he's going to get to the huddle. So I've got a feeling we'll be able to hear Josh Franco from up here anyway, somehow. Disappointing start for the Roosters. Chris Massey will be pretty pleased so far with his boys. Curry, Button. Curry gets the tap down. Working it out there is Bradley. Getting the centre clearance there for the Roosters. Coming up there is Armstrong. His kick's been smothered. Allen, Ty Allen that is. Well wrapped up in a tackle by Keller. We're going to have a ball up. So, 28-point margin here for Glenelg on the cusp of quarter time. Tap down, straight into the hands of Agnew. That's his first disposal of the day. He's wrapped up in a tackle, and we're going to have a ball up. Another goal for Glenelg on the edge of quarter time would be very handy. Agnew, tackled straight away by Wright. We're going to have another ball up. So it's just rolling stoppages at the moment. North Adelaide trying to stem the tide, if nothing else. Just making sure that Glenelg don't get too far away from them. Button gets the tap down. Working out the back here is Gorman. Just gets the handball away. Interception by the Tigers. We're going to have a throw-in.
Boys, Glenelg have gone inside 50 11 times and kicked 5 goals for. That is, the efficiency in scoring per entry is unbelievable. So their game plan is really good and working well for them at this stage of the game.
Salopek, middle of the pack, taken down by Wright. I see them in a showdown in a few weeks.
Yep, April 29th, I believe.
Another ball up late in this opening quarter. Glenelg obviously the best of it. Button just tries to tap it forward. Allen, what a clearance specialist he is, just couldn't quite get it away. Agnew tackled as soon as he got it by Bennett, who's back in there, and he has possession, and Agnew returns the favour. So we'll get a ball up just inside 50 for the Bays. Bays fans looking on, be very happy with this start. Now, Craig, he lays it down. Trembath. Well, his vision was pretty good to try and get it away to Allen. Allen closed down immediately. Keller is the tackler. Umpire comes in, says he is trying. We'll ball it up. So it's still at right half forward for the Bays. Opportunity to go forward again is still there. And look at that, Norwood over the Eagles by 30 points. And the Eagles have only managed 2 behinds in the opening quarter. Clearance unable to, and now it's play on advantage. Is it? Well, my understanding is it's the same as the AFL, that rule, and it looked like the umpire, though, made the advantage call that time. Button with the free kick. Inside 50, Hender dropped what he should have taken that time, and on 50, he's corralled. Umpire circling, and we'll call for another ball up.
Again, good work by Glenelg, the way they worked that ball inside 50 and found space for their small forwards to lead into. As I said earlier, their structure in their game plan is holding up really well.
McGinty, Craig. Craig just hacks it away at the stoppage, right to the centre of the prospect oval. Plenty of Tigers here waiting for it. See, clever work in there. Tigers going into their 50, coughed it straight up to Christian Thompson. Thompson to rebound from half-back. Keeps it out long on the outer side where it's Gorman. There's not much really presenting for him. Riswick's in position A, but it doesn't matter because it's quarter time anyway. And a great start there for the Tigers. Glenelg 5-4-34, leading North Adelaide one straight 6. You can see Josh Franco head in his hands. A lot of working of the Magners at quarter time.
Fantastic quarter by Glenelg. They just took it all upon themselves. They won the centre clearances. They were winning the stoppages against quality opposition and finishing off with goals. They're inside 50s. They went in 14 times for 9 scoring shots, which, again, as I described earlier, is really efficient. Nothing wrong with the way they're going about it. Big headache for Josh Franco, though. He needs to regroup. He needs to get his team up and running for the start of this second quarter.
So at quarter time, it's a comfortable lead for Glenelg, and dare we say the Roosters need a resurrection.
They do. They just need to find something, and it starts in the midfield where Glenelg have been dominant. They need to close it down there, and they need to start to win the ball out. I'd like to probably see Alloway go to full forward, just one out in the square perhaps, so they've got something really to aim at, but this quarter they really need to get back into it.
Let's talk about the matches over the Easter weekend, starting on Holy Thursday. Of course, on Holy Thursday night was Centrals against West Adelaide. And Centrals, well, they have a good record against every club, but last year they lost by 66 points under lights, the first time that the Bloods had been under lights at their home ground. And gee, on Thursday night, the Bloods started very well. Ryan Willits with a huge goal there, and just typical of what they tried to do with Ryan Willits because he is such a huge kick of the ball. But there's one of the mistakes Central's made.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to be going their way. Maybe they have had a little bit of luck after over the last 12 years. I'm sure they haven't, but luck was going West's way. Maybe they like playing under lights as well, West against Central, but a very good victory.
There's no doubt about that. We saw some tight, tough, intense football, but certainly it was early in the third quarter when Centrals looked like they may have got the upper hand in terms of the clearances, and it looked like they may come back and win the match, but they just kept finding a way to go forward. Daniel Webb there, that was letting Centrals off the hook, there's no doubt about that. But look, they just found a way, and they were able to get away with a tight victory in the end. It was 16 points. I think it was much tighter than that. It was only a couple of late goals that got them across the line. And Chris Kendall, you were there. It wasn't a flowing game by any means.
Look, it wasn't, Neil. There was plenty of rolling stoppages throughout, and we know that Centrals are normally very adept at that sort of game. They shut down the game and play it on their own terms, but they got out-hustled by West Adelaide very much the other night, and that was clever work there from John O'Beach to finish off with a major, and that pretty much sealed the game there for West Adelaide in the fourth quarter. But Centrals just couldn't find their normal running space more than anything else.
No, they would have been disappointed too. According to the stats I saw, they did not have a clearance in the final quarter, which is absolutely incredible for Central District. They went down by 16 points for the first time since 1990. They start the season with 2 losses. Let's have a look at Tyson Slattery, who had a very interesting leap here. He just forgot to bring in the ball, and I think he actually knocked himself out on the way down, or when he landed.
Yeah, that's a real bad one and dangerous, but you want your players to have that sort of courage, and it's a great effort there.
Okay, we'll go down to Noarlunga now, and of course the Good Friday, well, there was a little bit of controversy about the fact that South was playing on Good Friday. They were very keen to have this match, and it's been an absolute success for them off the field. Huge crowd there, certainly by South Adelaide standards, if I can say that, and they were very, very happy with that aspect of their game. The trouble was it was goal for goal, and they ended up going down.
Yeah, they did. They're trying to make it the spiritual home, aren't they, on Good Friday? But they were competitive, but Sturt have come out of the blocks running, winning their first 2 games, and they proved too good for South on Good Friday. But a good effort by South. They're kicking big scores, and I think they've got a good season under Ronnie Fuller.
And for Sturt, clearly, Matty Doldig. I think we mentioned in the call last week that Doldig was going to be important for them up forward again. He kicked 52 goals last season, so he's going to be an important cog in the way that Sturt is trying to work things a lot longer, a lot more direct under Seamus Maloney.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of AFL-based players or players with AFL experience that make up their midfield, Sturt, and I think in tight games or any games of footy, those guys are going to come to the fore, and we see that happened on the weekend on Friday night.
Brodie Martin, another one of their listed AFL players. I didn't have a look to see just how many there were last night, but I suspect there are around the 7 that they had the previous week. And it's handy to have the likes of Brodie Martin, who is a Sturt junior after all, running around for them, and Matty Jensch is a Sturt junior, but also there's a couple of others that are new to the club that have fitted in, including Sam Kerridge pretty well. So there's the final score. Fairly high-scoring contest, 16 goals, 12, 108 Rod, you mentioned before you just like the symmetry of 16 goals, 12.
Yeah, well, I mean, it means they've had 28 scoring shots, means they're gone inside 50, probably 55 times, which also is very good for footy.
Let's go down to Nida, and we are able to hear anything from the huddles without going near them, particularly Josh Franco.
No, I was over with the North Adelaide huddle. Josh Franco just spent a bit of time going around to a few individuals. Nothing too much in the way of panic stations at the moment. There is a bit of a breeze, a couple of goal breeze down here. Interestingly enough, Michael Redden, the forward coach, really emphasising with the forwards about fast release and not allowing that ball to be released out of the Glenelg back line too easily. So out of their forward line, holding the ball in, hopefully getting some more shots on goal.
Thanks for that, Nida. A quick look through the statistics in the opening quarter, and they look like this, and the inside 50 is impressive there for the Tigers.
Yeah, 14 times inside, as we said, and 9 scoring shots. That's fantastic. North Adelaide only went in 3 times for 1 scoring shot, so they need to improve.
Nida's got the Glenelg coach. He must be happy, surely, Ben.
Chris, you put a bit of an emphasis last week on a bit more composure going forward. It looks pretty good in that first quarter.
Yeah, reasonable start, but at times we probably overused them and probably a little bit cute at times, but overall really pleased with 9 scoring shots to 1.
And a lot of contested footy, 17 to 37, so happy out of the middle.
Yeah, it's a real focus for us, and it will be for the whole year. So at this stage, reasonably pleased with their effort.
Thanks, Mass.
And I would have said that Chris Massey was reasonably hard to please too, judging by that. As he goes up into the stands to take up position, Chris Kendall's ready with a second term.
North Adelaide really need to get some scoreboard pressure early here. It's one of the more unusual sirens in SANFL here at Prospect. Curry, Button. And the secondary clearance here is Button. It's going to be a free and advantage. No, advantage has been stopped. Button will hand it back.
Play on.
He correctly says no advantage there for the Tigers. Oh, terrible kick. That's been cut off well by Young. So Young, long lead from right at half forward, just takes it. Still 70 metres out from goal. Wheels around. He's looking for a mark in there from Boras. Haven't called Boras so far today. Trying to get the handball away is Craig. Holding the ball. Free kick advantage. Tenace to relieve for the Tigers. Tenace out of side. Mark taken there from Davenport, but it's going to be a free. Disposed of his Rooster opponent too early. Davenport, very theatrical, Jason. 25.
They don't often change their mind, the umpires, Jason, so wouldn't bother trying.
Too early, Jace.
Let's just have a look at that one.
It wasn't in the same contest. It's too early.
Davenport.
You can tell from here where you are.
Oh, look at that, yes. Oh, you cannot be serious to channel John McEnroe. Well, so Big Curry lining up for his first goal in SANFL from right on 50. Let's see what the hoof's like. Kicks on its way. There's nothing wrong with his kicking. Welcome to SANFL, young man. First goal for the Roosters, margin back to 22 points.
It's a fantastic goal by the 202-centimetre ruckman come forward. We see here something obviously happened off the ball, and Davenport was unaware of that and showed his dismay, but Curry was good enough to take the eventuating free kick. See him there.
A little bit of Shogun about that hairstyle, isn't there?
Let's go, Rucken, thank you.
It's pretty clear what the umpire said, though. It was 2 motions. You pushed the player away, then you took the mark. So, yeah, he showed his displeasure and a little bit of disappointment written all over his face. Allen attacks the ball hard. Curry almost brings him down. Hot Curry at the moment. Ball in close. Curry makes another tackle. So he's red hot at the moment.
He is. And nice effort by Ty Allen. His composure while being tackled and to stand up in the tackle was really good. He's a strong player.
Well, that was incredible from Allen. We'll come back to that. James Allen, inside 50, not the greatest of kicks, under really not that much pressure. He didn't look up. Mules took it. Mules goes wide and turns it over immediately, unlike Benny Mules, and he's found Wright. And Wright, wide out. Just drives it in, gives them a chance. Hands the ball for Gorman, but eventually, or Craig it was, and eventually it comes away, though. Ryswick with a bit of pressure, too much, said the umpire, was holding. So the free kick will go to Glenelg.
At this stage, North Adelaide don't seem to have that small representation at the front of the pack when the ball goes in quickly to finish off with goals. It's an area they just need to take more advantage of.
Mill just drops it in short. Now, Bay's being held up here. Finally, the Roosters have got some defensive action in that opening quarter. The Bays will have a break 3 through the corridor.
Come back, Louis. Thanks, mate.
Johnston with good pressure there on Kirkby, who swings around to his left foot. And they'll be able to run and deliver long into their forward line. And great work by Davenport, who got rid of his man that time legally, said the umpire. It comes back, and now the umpire will come in and call for the ball up as Button's tied up. They're just 60 metres from goal.
Davenport still with the theatrics. He was disappointed he didn't mark that, and he was rehearsing it after the event.
Throw up. Allen gets the handball away, or it's cleared by Blee. Blee just keeping it on the outer side. He's looking for Ryswick. Ball needs to sit for him. He's trying to paddle it in front of himself. Good control. Alloway puts out the don't argue. Good tackle in there from Shaw, holding the ball. Advantage paid now to the Tigers. Going back inboard then was Curran.
Straight up, Clint, straight up.
Swings back inboard now. Glenelg retaining possession on the outer side. Long lead up the ground, and it's Davenport. So Jason Davenport, he's about 45 metres out on a tight angle. He's got Kirkby calling for it. I reckon he's going to go himself, Rocket.
Yeah, there's a lot of theatre about him, isn't there? He's put the ball down, he's gone back, he's got the hair tied up.
Between the hair and the reactions, certainly plenty going on with Jason Davenport. Not in the goal-kicking states, unfortunately. Minor score, 23-point margin to the Tigers.
He's looking forward to seeing his reaction should he kick the goal.
One more.
Johnson to kick in this time for North.
Play on now.
Lewis Johnston,
Yours.
after a career cut short at the Swans, drives it long, the ball over the back. Bennett quickly to Delvins. Oh, and he was caught with the ball. Holmes was going to receive the free kick. It's advantage, and Lyons drops it in very, very short. And Reid again, right place, right time, and good disposal. And Hender was taken late, and Thompson was probably a little lucky then.
See, there's a lot to like about the way Glenelg are playing. They use the corridor, they look out wide, inside 50, a little bit central-like for smalls who are loose. Reid's been loose a lot, and he finds his teammate in Hender, who is clever, and we know he's a great kick for goal.
Hender already with one goal this afternoon. The first goal of the match, in fact. Can kick the Bay's first goal of the second term. It looked like that ball, and as it proved, went astray, but it looked like the ball was just dropped and slightly wobbled as it went down to his foot for the minor score.
He might need to adjust because of the wind, Neil, when he's kicking.
Lee brings it back into play, looking for Ivans. Just got the handball away, but only as far as Ty Allen. Back to Davenport. Heard the voice over the top of Holmes, who's thrust over the boundary line. Going to have a throw in. Now he's paid a free there. He reckons that he went excess on the tackle is the best way of putting it. Finished the tackle, it didn't need to be finished. Sort of know what he means. Tommy Holmes unloads, looking for the hot spot. Can Kirkby take it at the back? No, good mark at the front from Johnston. Starting to work his way into it after a slow start. Wouldn't be too often you'd have two Lewises on the same field in SANFL. Hender and Johnston. Plenty of Matthews. Wright's got it. Right. Keeping it on the outer side. Well read at the bottom of the pack there by the Tigers. Young puts his head over the ball. Looking for a ball up now, you'd sense. And umpire agrees. Over at the parade. Nord leading the Eagles by 31 points at the moment, Crossy. Over here it's Glenelg by 24.
You can assume that Norwood had the breeze in that opening quarter, but we know that the Eagles barely kicked a point. Here's Lyon breaking away. And inside half forward again, Hender.
Gee, once again, that was really well placed, that ball. Hender had a little bit of space in behind his teammate. We watch here, it's a good look by Lyon over the top to Hender, and the space was created by McGinty, but Hill on Hender just needs to tighten up. Hender thought, or Hill might have thought Hender wasn't a chance there, but he's always a chance, and he just needs to be right alongside, if not in front.
So Hender, this time learned from his last kick, kicks a goal. And so the Bays have an answer to that goal kicked by Curry for North Adelaide in the opening minute of the term. It's back to it's out to a game high, 30 points, as it turns out, just on Jared Lyons. I must say he earned his only McGarry medal vote last season against the Roosters.
Yeah, he's a nice player, and he found Hender there very well. Hender went back as you said, Crossy, he learned from his previous experience. That was a perfect kick, and he's a very good goal kicker, this boy.
Real danger signs now for the Roosters. 12 scoring shots to 2 in favour of Glenelg. Glenelg a kick straight. Fat lady be gargling on the terraces at the moment. Button just gets the tap down. Glenelg getting another centre clearance. A mark taken out here. Going in long, looking for Reid again. So Reid looking to go long and direct. We've got a good pass from Salopek back there. He's hacking it off the turf. There is Johnston. Out into no man's land, really. Glenelg leading in the race for the ball. They should get it. Through Lally. Now it's with Bradley. Bradley's been very busy in the opening stanza also. Looks to go up long towards the hot spot. Good work from Craig. Goes off to Ivans. Ivans hacked it away. It's only James Allen as his teammate out here. I don't even think he can beat 2 of them, especially when one's as clever as Curran. Curran wheels around, spots up a teammate further up the field in the form of Salopek. So Salopek, 55 metres out. You think this is just beyond him. He agrees. Lewis Hender presents again, and Hender is proving a real headache in attack.
He is, and he needs to learn from the last couple of experiences. Like, Hender is always in it. He needs to be in front or alongside and needs to create a contest, not just let him lead into space like that consistently. Well done by Hender, on the other hand.
So Lewis Hender, we're right behind him here on ABC TV. Kicks on its way, just drifting alongside. Oh, mark taken down there by Kirkby. That should say McGinty. Well, now this will be a turn-up.
Where are you going back and spine?
Because Warwick McGinty's still waiting for his first SANFL goal. I wonder what's running through his head now, Rocket.
Well, I'll just be watching Hender.
McGinty's going to back himself.
Never looked like missing.
Joins the goal-kicking club now in SANFL. Big Warwick McGinty. The margin, folks, out to 36 points as the Glenelg choir goes up.
This has been an awesome start by Glenelg. They're just doing everything right. They've started the second quarter the way they left off the first quarter. Unusual miss kick by Hender. Didn't quite get the distance, but McGinty at the front of the pack took a terrific mark and went back like he's been doing it his whole life and kicked the easiest of goals in his mind.
Don't know if Warwick McGinty has been doing it his whole life. He's South Australian junior basketballer.
Yeah, right.
Joins the passing parade of ex-basketballers playing Australian football. Button, good hands. Curran just turned into some traffic and got him. Greg Gorman just see getting up slowly behind the play there, number 37, and he struggling a bit early in this game. He's had a couple of sizable hits. Ryswick shared it to Backwell, ducked, hand pass was awful, playing of course against his former side, the Bays. And now Armstrong. Well, that was ruled as Button had pulled the ball in and dived on it. And so as a result, Armstrong will take the free kick for North Adelaide. They'll get a clearance. They badly need one. Alloway's on the move. Armstrong a little bit slow to get it going. Bays have good numbers back in front of Alloway. And that's why Lyon was advantaged by the kick. Curran comes in. Rudolph. And then he wanted to go wide, and eventually they work it to Lyons. Lyons had good support from Curran running on well. And back behind play, there was a holding decision. It will come to Hender, and Keller was the offender. His man, as you suggested, was having some trouble, Rocket, in holding him. And in fact, he did hold him, and that's why he gave away the free kick. Awkward kick down there. There was a push. It'll come back again. And this time it'll be the Roosters' Ivans to take the free kick.
Umpire's certainly very busy in the last couple of minutes. They're all there. Ivans. Gee, they need to just try and create something. Clisby kicks it straight out in the full, and that probably sums up the Roosters' afternoon so far.
Josh Franco's moved Jake Keller onto the dangerous Hender.
Certainly like that matchup. Oh, Button straight into space, and Trembas all by himself.
I think Hill was his opponent. I think Hill was his opponent there too, boys. Looked to be caught out again. He's having a terrible first half of this game.
Yeah, Stuart Hill crossing over from the Eagles. He was a bit unlucky not to get more game time there. But we're with young Reid coming up for goal number 3 in the first half. That's going to drift across the face of goal. Mark almost taken out there. That was actually like Trembath kicking to Reid. spins back into play. McGinty and Craig. On the back there is Tearley, just trying to hack the handball away. Curran heard the voice of Lyons, goes back to Bradley. Bradley just chips it into the 50. They need a marker here, the Roosters, from someone. Now it's going to sit up for Reid. Tries to show a bit of candy. No such luck, beats them over the boundary line, and we're going to have a throw-in. It is the Glenelg out by 36 points.
The inside 50s are 23 to Glenelg, 8 to North Adelaide. It's an absolute dominance.
Craig, nice tap down. Allen takes advantage, releases Tearley as a left footer, and that's why he's run down by Davenport, because he wanted the left foot. Lowy overran it. Bennett was just able to get it to Delvins, wanted a handball, just put the high left foot boot to the ball. Thought Alloway might have infringed on Rudolph. It doesn't make any difference as Shaw takes it away to Bradley on centre wing for Glenelg. They lead by 6 goals. Wasn't the greatest who kicks, got away with it. Allen, and then knocked down by Backwell, former teammates. Backwell, surely he was held. Umpire said no. Shaw this time. He goes through the pack. Gee, that was good. He was in traffic, just tapped it to himself. They controlled it pretty well, the Bays, and now they're out through Salopek, and Tenace is forward of him. Tenace can take the ball and run. Tries to pick out a target inside forward 50. In the end, settles for the high ball. It almost found its way to the back where Hender was working. It did find its way to the back where Davenport was. Then Trembath, then Reid. He's mowed down. Roosters struggling hard in defence, and the umpire eventually will take possession of the ball 40 metres out from goal.
The pressure the Tigers forwards are putting on the Roosters defenders is amazing at the moment. It's forcing them to every error known to man. They're just really crowding the turnover there, Rocket, just by their sheer pressure and attack.
Oh, their pressure's fantastic. They're just doing everything right. So it's been a real spectacle.
Tigers trying to work through. Ivans will have none of that. Gorman tried to get the clearance away, only as far as Agnew. He chips into the 50, looking for Davenport. The back here is Gorman. Roosters relieving. That's a terrible kick. Straight into the hands of Sammy Rudolph. Must have thought it was Christmas. Salopek punched away from him by Bennett, and we're going to have a throw-in. North Adelaide trailing by 36 points halfway through the second term.
It'd be fair to say Rudolph's doing his best work out of season, out of Christmas, around Easter.
Don't pinch all my best material, Rocket. Worked for weeks on that one. Bradley getting the kick inboard. Looking for a mark again from Trembath. Allen. He's wrapped up in a tackle, just gets the handball away to Tearley. Heard the voice on the outside of Blee. Blee is looking out there for right, that overshoots him. Handball comes back from Shaw. Tigers again in possession. Wheeling around, they've got an option, looking for Trembath. Good punch over the top here from the Roosters. Ty Allen, oh, he's going to unload from 35. He should put this straight through the centre, and he does. Oh, you know you're in trouble when Ty Allen is getting that much space and finishing with the goal. 42-point margin.
This is just a brilliant display by Glenelg. They're doing everything right. You can see them win the ball here, as they've been doing from clearances, and Allen gets it, just runs in space, in the corridor. The other end of the ground, Glenelg are clogging it up. North aren't at this end. And a great goal by the skipper, and he's certainly enjoying this contest.
Millicent Boy with 2 best and fairest in the league team, as well as the best and fairest from the reserves, and now skipper of the club.
And Hill, who has been struggling for North in the back half, has been replaced on the ground now, boys.
Not surprised. He had a significant bump to go with that as well. He got caught under a pack. Agnew with a pack around him as well. Umpire will come in for the secondary bounce.
Thanks, boys. You know you've had a bad day, Neil, and you've had 2 opponents kick goals on you, and you've copped a whack in the head before half-time.
So Bennett couldn't get the ball. Curry's got it, and Ty Allen, as we mentioned several times, the clearance king, has it for the Bays. The old Warhorse surrenders the ball. We know that left hand is still strapped. He had a thumb injury late last season. Needed surgery, missed the 6 weeks leading into the finals. Did Ty Allen. And the Bays break away through Shaw. Shaw so impressive in the pre-season with the Crows. Kirkby so impressive with that mark out in front of the eyes. Alloway, his opponent, I think he's gone back. Alloway can't put enough pressure on the ball there, and Tenace with the mark and Hender with the lead up, and so is Davenport. So Davenport in the pocket. He probably wishes it was Hender as a left footer, but Davenport drops it up and he just couldn't get the mark. Reed at the front, shares it with Kirkby. Kirkby surrounded, can't get away with the ball. Gorman did pretty well in traffic. And then Teely needed to be precise with the kick. And Thompson, whose name we haven't called often this afternoon, takes the mark. Defensive side of centre wing.
And he had to sit under it for an awfully long time. He's got a man calling in space in the centre of the ground, and that's Bennett. Bennett looks to go long and direct. One of the few long direct forward moments for the Roosters all day. That's just going to dribble over the boundary line. Gets pushed in the back from Johnny Boris. Yeah, got the free kick, Ben Mills. Boris, I don't reckon, has had a clean disposal so far. I'll get that from Corey Ogilvie in a second. Benny Mills, the former skipper, in the back pocket. Doing everything right at the moment, the Tigers. Good punch over the top there from Pitt over Bennett. We're going to have a throw-in.
Playing a very disciplined brand of footy, Glenelg. Everything they're doing, you like to see a team do.
Over at the parade, heavens above, gnawed out to a 48-point lead at the moment. Nick Godden will be tearing his hair out at halftime. He's got plenty of it to tear out, fortunately. Free kick, yep, against Alloway. That's going to be to Kirkby. No, it's actually on Alloway, so wrong way around. Alloway gets the recipient of the free. Well, Alloway was doing the holding, to be honest there. Allen, James gets the mark, chips it into the 50. Right on cue. We were just about to say that Johnny Boris has had donuts, but now he's got his first disposal.
Looks like Clint Alloway's gone to centre half back, picking up Kirkby at the moment. You see Allen here, he often kicks the ball short, doesn't he, when he gets it? This time he finds Boras, which is good. And gives him an opportunity, his first for the game.
Johnny Boras, to say that they need this is like saying most of us will have hot cross buns tomorrow. Boras kicks on its way. Gee, it drifted a long, long way to the wrong side of the post. Brings the margin back to 41 points Glenelg's way.
Just would have thought Alloway would be better served being, again, maybe at full forward one out or in the forward line as the P rather than a Boras to try and get North back into the game rather than save it at this stage.
Boris kicked 8 goals straight last season to earn 3 McGarry medal votes against the Tigers. Salopek with a wonderful mark going back with the fall of the ball. Then to Tenace, wasn't the greatest of kicks. Hender had the ball knocked away from him. Hasn't happened too often this afternoon. Keller was the man. Now it's Rudolph at half back. Wide he goes for Reed. He's shown some promise this afternoon as well.
It's been fantastic. I think he's just playing as a small permanent forward and he's picking up the ball at will.
Rudolph, who gave it to him, follows up, takes the mark. They can square the ball. They got runners out there aplenty. And Shaw is the man who receives it. And Shaw can run and kick long into the forward 50. I think he was aiming for Button. Player up in front of him, Lyons, just tapped it away. And now Allen, as always, precise with his kick. And he goes wide. Lewis Johnston. He went down the line pretty well. Ryswick takes off. Support from Blee. Somebody needs to shepherd. Eventually one comes. Blee follows up. 1-2 he goes with Ryswick. We know he's quick. Ryswick sends it inside to Thompson, who's also quick, but he runs out of room.
See, the difference in the way they use the ball is stark, isn't it? Glenelg using the ball really well, finding their players, giving them best opportunity and often in space, whereas North just seem to get run down each time.
Craig and McGinty. Craig gets tapped down to Armstrong. Heard the voice out there of Ryswick. Back to Armstrong, back to Allen. Allen, forward 50 entry, kicks on its way. Oh, gee, just drifts across the post. Minor score. Margin back to 40 points. James Allen down on his usual numbers, boys. Only the 14 disposals so far.
It's only the second opportunity Glenelg have had to kick in, so I'm interested to see what sort of setup they have and how rehearsed they are, but it looks good so far in getting it almost outside their defensive 50.
Curran, he just drops it short for Holmes, who's a fantastic kick, and that's not bad. He gives a chance for Alloway, though, to come over the back of Kirkby. Ivans takes it away. Clisby on this side of the ground. He'll go. He goes wide, though, rather than through the corridor. Delvins gives him a lead at half forward, a former reserves McGarry medalist. Tim Delvins called a play on. Back through the corridor, this time to Blee. His kicks haven't been fantastic this afternoon, and now they're going via the Cape. Here's Cohen, Teely, and now Backwell. And Backwell sets it out in space, and Wright comes to meet it right on 50.
He doesn't look like he thinks he can get the journey, boys. He's a fantastic kick for goal, but he, for some reason, doesn't think he'll get the distance here.
Well, I think with the breeze, he's got every chance. He wants a lead. He looks like he wants a lead to come to him, and in the end, he floats it up to the goal square. It comes to the front. Shaw, clever kick, Reed, and they've got forward of the play. They've got numbers again coming out of defence. Davenport was the man, and the ball falls over the back and over the boundary line. And the Roosters fans are here in good numbers this afternoon. Boy, they'd be disappointed with that scoreline close to half-time.
Sam Shaw's been really impressive for the Bays at centre-half back today. He started on Alloway. Alloway's been moved away, and he's been a thorn in North side in his first half.
Roosters have been better for the last 5 minutes, but it's not showing on the scoreboard. Backwell coughs it straight up to Button. Gee, old Heber's gone hard there, doesn't it?
Come out, play on.
Roosters now through Clisby. Clisby on a long searching kick into the forward 50. That's going to be a free to Johnston. So Lewis Johnston being shifted into attack. They need something up there. Let's have a look there. Yep, all over him. Every day of the week, Sammy Shaw. So Lewis Johnston coming up for his 8th kick. Has been busy, but it's mainly been at the opposite end of the ground.
Got to remember, Chris, at the Sydney Swans, he was played as a key forward. They really hoped he'd be the centre-half forward for the Swans going forward. Now with Adelaide this pre-season, he's played down back so far in 2012.
Kicked 3 goals in the opening game against South Adelaide. So certainly not foreign to him, as Nida mentioned. Can he bring it back to 34 points on the edge of half-time? That's a lovely kick. Leave him up for Josh. Margin is back to that 34 points on the edge of half-time.
Good finish by Johnson. Yeah, he does know where the goals are. And we look here, 2 teammates from Adelaide Footy Club playing against each other. Shaw, who hasn't put a foot wrong all day, did create the free kick there. And Johnson good enough to go back and never looked like missing that. He's obviously a really good kick for goal. Good style, and North Adelaide needed that.
Nida, you've had a bit to do with Lewis Johnston. Is he a forward?
Yeah, I definitely think he's a forward. He's got a really nice kick, long booming kick, and take a good grab. It's just whether or not he can get the harder balls. That's been his query, I guess, when he was at the Swans and also in his junior days.
Clearance by the Bays. Reed with a beautiful rove, and he gives it out to Davenport. And what's his left foot like? Well, it was good enough for a score, we can say that, but just a minor one.
Davenport's awareness there and his ability to fend off was really good and critical in him getting an opportunity to have a good shot there. Unfortunately, he didn't kick it, but he started this game really well.
Play on.
Lee kicks to himself. Keeps it on the outer side of the prospect oval.
Play on.
Tierley. Oh, he threw that surely. Yep. Not well disguised at all. So it's going to be a free kick to Lions. He's got a player moving into space out there. And that's...
You got 1 metre ahead of that line if you want it.
No, it is Salopek. So Stephen Salopek is looking off. You can see it, urging someone to come to him.
Right, let's move along now, please. Kick or handball.
Have a crack yourself, Steve. No. Chips in board, looking for Hender. Why wouldn't you in that sort of form? Just drifts over the back. Gorman being sat upon. He scooped it back in too. Right. Just gets the handball away to Keller. Keller just tried to hack it away, but it beat them over the boundary line.
The North Adelaide kick-ins, and they've had 7 opportunities after kicking in after Glenelg 7 points, haven't been that impressive. There have been kicks in hope, there have been turnovers. It doesn't seem like it's as structured as Glenelg's last one, which was really good, and they got the ball back inside their forward 50 from a kick-in.
They just need to get numbers around the ball here, North Adelaide, to prevent another goal right on the edge of half-time. Oh, it's going to end up now with Curran. He should slap this home. No, wrong side of the post. Crowd went up, commentary box went up. Umpire didn't, 36 points.
Let's see what North do at this kick-in. So Gorman's going to take the kick-in. He does have experience at kicking in. Let's see if they can start something from their defensive 50.
Kick in now, please.
In fact, it's Ryswick who's going to take the kick in, and he didn't do something, did he? Well, he did something, but it wasn't good. But Alloway, well, he did pretty well to take it back, and now they're able to clear the defensive area through Craig, and they're out. Chile can run, so can Allen, and they run out of time. And so at half-time, it's a significant lead for the Glenelg Football Club. They've had a good half, there's no doubt about that. It's Glenelg 8-8-56 by 36 points over North Adelaide 3-2-20.
I don't think it can get any worse for North Adelaide, and almost symbolic of their first half when Allen had it in space and they might have been a chance to score that the siren went. So they'll go back in and regroup. I'm sure Josh Franco will make some changes. They need to come out more aggressive and better around the stoppages to give themselves a chance to get back into this game. during the third quarter. But Glenelg have been fantastic. They've done everything right. They've kicked 8 goals, been inside 50 31 times, which would be almost going for a record if they keep that up. Very impressive, and Glenelg supporters will be happy with that.
So it's half-time at the Prospect Oval, and it's Glenelg 8-8, North Adelaide 3-2.
This week on the Marngrook Footy Show, put on your flares. It's our 70s spectacular show. We'll have Peter Dacos, Wayne Arms, Graham Teasdale, goal-kicking legend Peter McKenna, our own 70s supergroup with Wilbur Wild and Joe Camilleri, plus the footy news, all the ins and outs for round 3. It's Marngrook 70s style.
Thursday, 8:30, ABC2.
Always good for a laugh, the Marngrook Footy Show. Look forward to that on Thursday nights. Well, now we're going to take a break at half-time. We're going to sit back and relax and enjoy the under-18 competition. Here's all the action from round 2.
The Sturt under-18 boys visited Alberton while their older brothers were over at Unley starting the season in style. A win for the under-18s would make it 2. Brothers were over at Unley starting the season in style. A win for the under-18s would make it 2-1 to Sturt, with the reserves already beaten by the Magpies earlier in the day. Coach Michael Gordon needn't have worried, because right from the very start this was a golden performance from the Double Blues. It was a magnificent demonstration of real teamwork. The boys gelled well and executed Coach Borden's game plan like they'd been doing it for months, whereas in reality, this was effectively round 1 for Sturt. And even though the Blues had to cobble together a makeshift forward line, the boys charged with the responsibilities up front performed their tasks with ease, with Jared Lynott loving the opportunity to kick 5 goals, and first gamer Henry Voigt, who's been cracking balls over mid-wicket all summer, bagging 6 goals to give Sturt an easy win at Alberton. Of course, these boys wouldn't usually get the chance to play up front. Co-captain Jake Atkinson should have been playing at centre-half forward, but he had his sister's wedding to attend to. Priorities, Jake. Well, good luck in any case to Rebecca and Aidan. Henry Voigt not only showed his class up front, but he demonstrated versatility when he moved into the ruck for the final quarter. Talk about an all-rounder. The first gamers were many for Sturt: Seb Weech from Scotch College, Jacob Leake from Harndorf, Brendan Hone from Mount Lofty Football Club, Josh Bilder from Prince Alfred College, and Jaden Pengilly, who moved up from the under-16s, all starred on Saturday. But it was Dwayne Wilson who celebrated the loudest. His move to the forward line in the final term reaped instant rewards, with 3 of his 4 goals coming late in the game. That's 2 losses from 2 starts for the reigning under-18 premiers. Once again, under-16 Jake Johansson was at his best, kicking 4 goals from 18 disposals, while Sean Davidson led a Magpie third quarter revival with 21 kicks and 5 handballs. But coach Julian Farkas has got it all to do in 2012. Port is in unfamiliar territory in the bottom half of the table after 2 matches. At Alberton Oval, it was Sturt by 76 points. Starting the 2012 season with a bye, David Odie's Norwood squad entered this match with 55 eligible players on the list. It's just as well, because about half of them will disappear to college football in a couple of weeks. But the strength and depth of the squad was evident on Saturday when the Redlegs demolished the Bulldogs in a good demonstration of teamwork and commitment around the ball. The Dogs were still in the contest at quarter time, but the Redlegs left no doubt who was in charge of this fixture when they came out and kicked 11 goals 5 to just 1 point in the second quarter. 5 of Norwood's 25 goals came from first gamer Orozio Fantasia from the Payne and Norwood Union Football Club. And no, he's not related to James Fantasia, but he's showing equal talent early on in the season. Orozio is a medium forward and he loves the ball. His 21 disposals bagging him 5 goals on his debut at this level. Certainly a good way to make a lasting first impression. But not to be outdone, tall man Nick Dinham, coming in at just under 2 metres, bagged 6 goals from just 11 kicks. No sense in wasting kicks when they could be goals. Stephen Baldasso played a couple of trial games with the reserves in the pre-season, but then got booted out by AFL-listed players. It was the reserves' loss in the under-18s game because Steve was outstanding on Saturday. From the Athelstone Football Club, Steve peeled open the Dogs' defence with 32 high-quality disposals and even a goal for his troubles. And Fred Batel from the Golden Grove Football Club was also in brilliant form, with no less than 37 disposals in a very one-sided performance at the parade. For the Dogs, Brad Hunt did his best to bring about some respectability to the scoreline, but even his team-high 25 disposals wasn't nearly enough to lift the Dogs' hopes. There's plenty of time for Centrals to put the wheels back on, but after their first game for 2012, the cart is looking a little worse for wear. Norwood easy winners in this one by 122 points at the parade. For the Panthers, this was an opportunity to make amends for an absolute shocker in round one. They went down by 135 points to the Bloods last week. Surely things couldn't get any worse down south. Well, yeah, they could. With no goals in the first quarter, this match was over early. But credit where credit's due, Heath Uni's team was excellent. It's all about player development at North, and Heath is developing them quite nicely. This side boasts some easily recognisable names, and a number of them are likely to make state selection later on in the year. None more so than Michael McMahon from the Jeps Cross Football Club. Michael took out the leading goal kicker competition in 2011 with 69 goals to his name. He started off 2012 pretty well too, second only to another M&M, West's Mason Middleton. Michael's 6 goals in round 2 are certain to raise Brenton Phillips' interest come state selection time. And Alex Spina will also be hoping for a state spot. A member of the State Academy squad, Alex added 5 to North's total at Noarlunga. Also in the thick of the action was another household name, Henry Trenorden. And yes, Henry is related. The Trenorden name is well respected at Prospect. Henry's father Ray played a big part in North's 1960 premiership against Norwood. In his first game for North on Saturday, Henry held up the Trenorden name with a solid 16 possessions. And the historians would have been diving for the record books when Patrick Bowles took to the field for the Roosters. After a long struggle, the Roosters finally managed to drag Pat down from Port Augusta. Patrick's dad, Jamie, played a half a dozen games for North under Michael Noonan in 1985. But even after kicking 6 goals in one match, Jamie wouldn't move from the North, and that was that. Let's hope Pat sticks around for a bit longer. For South, Matthew Spenceley was on target when given the opportunity, but those opportunities were few and far between, with South going down by 1 more point than last week. This week the margin was 136 points to North Adelaide. Perhaps the West Adelaide boys were getting a little ahead of themselves after a crushing win over the Panthers to open up the season and a batch of good performances in the pre-season trial games. This match was there for the taking, and the Bloods let it go. But in fairness to Adam Blakely's Tigers, they could have and should have had it all sewn up inside of 10 minutes. It's goal-kicking practice for the Bays this week after they kicked 3 goals, 8 behinds in the first quarter. Ouch. Both sides have lofty ambitions this year, but both sides will be affected by the dreaded college football exodus coming soon. Westies will fare the best with only 3 players, all from Sacred Heart, who will be leaving. That's an improvement from last year when they lost 10 to the college system. Glenelg relied on Billy Laurie on Sunday. His 22 disposals and 1 goal, just what the coach ordered. Billy is in his 2nd season in the under-18s and was Glenelg's best on ground. Scoring goals for Glenelg was Jordan Newton. Jordan was part of Glenelg's under-18 grand final team last year. That team went down to Port Adelaide. Jordan will be hoping for a better result this year. His 2 goals in this match were a good start. One of Westie's college players was Sacred Heart's Jack Evans. Jack's 8 clearances at the weekend are exactly why he's in the team. And Mason Middleton from Barmera put himself up at the top of the goal kickers ladder with another 4 goals this week to add to his bag of 5 last week. The State Academy player loves scoring goals, and Westies will take every one of them. On the first day of April, there were no fools at this game. In the first close game of the year, it was Glenelg finishing the better, running out winners by 10 points over West.
So just a reminder of all those scores: Sturt by 76 points, Norwood by 122, North by 136, and Might be a close game when Centrals play the Panthers. Centrals kicking 6-6, the Panthers 6-5, but both of them getting beaten well and truly. Glenelg in that final match, the close match, by 10 points. And just congratulations again to our MVP winner from North Adelaide, Alex Spina, a member of the State Academy, so he's on his way to bigger and better things. 22 kicks, 10 handballs and 5 goals in his performance for North Adelaide. Well, time to turn to all the things that are happening around the country. We're going to start with round 3 of the WAFL.
Round 3 of the WAFL saw a battle of East versus West as the Royals hosted the Falcons in a crosstown showdown. East Perth coming off a close loss to Claremont, while West Perth were looking to make amends for their loss to the Swans. The Royals were the first to strike with a goal through Josh Smith.
Comes off the boot pretty well, straight through the middle.
Falcons debutant Matt Fowler settled his nerves to slot through his first of the afternoon.
He's come across from Southport in Queensland. He's got under this, but it'll carry the trip.
Before the home side found rhythm and finished out the quarter strongly.
Roving Eads doing exactly what a small man should.
The second term started sluggish until Raymond Bartholomew found the middle 7 minutes in.
And Bartholomew can wind up from 55 at a vacant square and kick the opener of the second term.
East Perth kicked a steadier through Brett Eads before the Falcons hit back. Fowler with his second, the margin 12 points at half-time. After the main break, East Perth looked to put their stamp on the game. The catalyst, Tim Martin, with a clever finish.
At the back's the big fella Martin. Well done, Hunt, but he lost his footing and Martin awkwardly sockets it through.
Both teams trading goals throughout the quarter. Joel Rice keeping West Perth in touch as a 3-2 third term saw the Royals take a handy 23-point buffer into the final break. Anthony Saylor got things moving for the Falcons in the fourth term, making a statement on the run.
Saylor got rid of Sweet. Now Saylor inside 50. Has a long shot on goal. Has he been accurate? I think he has. Gee, that's a great goal by West Perth.
The Royals looking out on their feet as the visiting side banged through another.
Fist from Charters, front and square, Miscoulis steps around the body. The youngster has kicked a miraculous goal.
West Perth completely running over the top of the home side in a 5-0 final term demolition. The Falcons' fast finish seeing them steal the game, the final margin 8 points. Debutant Matt Fowler impressive with 4 goals, while Wolf, Payne and Robinson were best for the Royals. In other results for round 3, Subiaco accounted for South Fremantle, Perth led all day to take the points in a close one against Peel, and East Fremantle had a 9-goal third quarter to run over the top of Claremont. To the ladder, and Subiaco's unbeaten start to the season has them in top spot, with Claremont a game behind in second. The Swans and East Fremantle round out the top 4, with 3 teams outside on percentage. East Perth and Peel remain the only sides yet to register a win. Round 2 of the VFL saw Port Melbourne host Werribee at North Port Oval. The Borough unfurling their premiership flag in front of their home crowd and got straight down to business. Dean Galea showing something special in front of goal.
Galea on the ground, gets through and kicks the goal. It was a bit awkward in the end, but he got the job done.
Not to be outdone, Adrian Bonadio chimed in with magic of his own. As both forwards kicked 4 majors, Port Melbourne dominating to be 48 points up at the first break. In the second quarter, a couple of tough moments saw Ben Spate go the bump, before a wayward elbow sidelined Tiger Ben Warren with the blood rule. With Werribee out on their feet, Port Melbourne capitalised, with a courageous Mark running back with the flight by Dean Grice.
Wolfenden follows up, nobody home. Oh, that's great from Grice, running with the flight of the footy.
The home side taking a 64-point lead into the main break. With the game all but over, Port Melbourne's Chris Kane stretched his side's lead.
Beautifully balanced runner. Oh, shoots at goal, and another exquisite finish from Chris Kane.
An injury concern to spearhead Galea didn't halt the Borough's steam, as Liston medalist Shane Valenti capped off a piece of brilliance.
Oh, beautiful roaming from Shane Valenti, dual Liston medalist.
With Warren's head bandaged, the lively forward salvaged some respect with a nice finish from the boundary. Werribee coach Scott West put all his players on notice at three-quarter time, and the team responded as Warren combined with Cameron Tudor.
For the mark by Sandlands, couldn't, and then amazing.
Ben Warren.
Lee Harding added to the Tigers' painful afternoon when he went down with a foot injury. Port Melbourne eventually running out 59-point winners. The Boroughs forwards set up the win, 4 goals each to Adrian Bonadio and Dean Galea in the first quarter. Bonadio finishing with 5, while Warren was the best for Werribee. In other games around the competition last weekend, Geelong led all day to defeat Collingwood. Casey held off against a fast-finishing Coburg. Williamstown turned around a third quarter deficit to beat the Northern Blues. Sandringham easily accounted for North Ballarat. And Bendigo were big winners over Frankston. To the ladder, and Sandy, Port Melbourne and Casey all remain undefeated. Bendigo's huge win over Frankston sees them round out the 4. A heap of teams are locked on 1-1, and then Collingwood, the Blues, North Ballarat, Box Hill and Frankston will all be looking to open their account this weekend.
Just a reminder too of our local footy coverage on ABC One around the country. On Wednesdays you'll be able to see, if you get up at 3 in the morning, to see the VFL, and then Thursdays it's the SANFL. Keep an eye on the WAFL of course, because the state game coming up in May between the SA and WA teams. Down to Benny Knights on the boundary. What's been happening at half time, Benny?
Well, Crossy, as you'd expect, Glenelg pretty happy the way things have panned out in that first half. 31 inside 50s to 13, so really dominating North Adelaide in more ways than one. In terms of those inside 50s, as you'd expect, a lot of space going forward, a lot of fast movement, and therefore a lot of inside 50s ending up in forward marks. We see here some really great examples, the likes of Trembath and Reid getting on the end of some. Hender's probably been the best forward on the ground. In that case, missed the goal, but did pass off to McGinty. Look, in terms of the ball movement going forward, it's been very, very fast. It's really, really difficult as defenders to make amends when your midfield's losing out in the centre of the ground. And so North have tried a little bit to rearrange their structures. Alloway's gone back, Johnson's gone forward. But at the moment, just not enough winners for North Adelaide down back, and Glenelg really using the ball beautifully as they go into that forward 50.
Thanks for that, Nida. As we look through just those highlights of the first half, specifically, I guess we're going to see a lot of these forward entries again from Glenelg, Rod. And look, they've just been so effective. And Lewis Hinder is obviously very, very effective up forward.
Yeah, he started off on fire. He kicked 5 last week. He's kicked the first goal of the game today, and he's been lively up forward, giving Glenelg a lot of opportunity. But all of their forward 50 entries, they seem to be able to find small players in space or go to their tools, and their smalls are crumbing very well. So everything to like about the way Glenelg are entering 50. On the other hand, North not going in as often and certainly not as efficient. They've made some changes, as Ben said, and I think I might need to get Alloway back up forward if they want to win this match. But at the moment, Johnson's gone forward. He's kicked a goal. They need to, it's in the midfield where it starts. They need to get more ball inside 50. We see Hender here again. Here's a beautiful kick for goal and a likely type.
There was a period, I think around time on, around about the 20-minute mark of that second term, when they did manage to get back some ascendancy, North Adelaide, and when Johnston kicked this goal at the 25-minute mark, it had followed minor scores from Boris and Allen. And you just thought, well, you know, if they get another one before half-time, it didn't turn out that way. And in the end, Curran kicked the last of the goals in the first half. Or actually, no, he didn't. He kicked the last of the behinds. But 8-8-56 to 3-2-20 at half-time. Tigers ultimately reigning at the moment supreme. Let's look through those goal kickers. And as you mentioned, Lewis Hender up forward. Reid's been the surprise packet with a couple for the Tigers and just individual goals for Wright, Curry and Johnston for North Adelaide. And they've been few and far between the major goal kickers there for North Adelaide.
Here, you look at the stats, and again, we keep talking about the inside 50s. Glenelg's gone in 31 times. If you can score from half your forward 50 entries, that's good. They've kicked 8-8, so that's 16. So again, very efficient. The centre breaks 7-6, but in general play, it seems like Glenelg's well on top at the stoppages and the clearances. They've got some good players in there, and Allen, Salopek, Tanase, Bradley and Lyons. Really only Wright and Allen standing up for the Roosters, on the other hand, around the middle of the ground.
Let's look where we are with the entire round. Just a reminder, if you have just joined us, of the results with Westies by 16 points over Central. A reminder, Central's 0-2 for the first time since 1990. Sturt comfortably, well, maybe, a bit of a struggle against South Adelaide at Noarlunga by 13 points. At halftime here, it's 36 points in favour of the Bays. And across at Norwood, it's a very comfortable 54 points over the reigning premiers. And both Centrals and the Eagles look likely to start the season with no wins from 2 games.
Well, they're both on the bottom. They're second bottom and bottom on the ladder after playing off in the grand final last year. Who would have thought that at the end of round 3? But that's the way it looks as though it'll be.
But as Malcolm Blight reminds us many a time, it is a marathon.
it is a marathon. I think the Eagles can recover from this. Central, I don't know. They've got some bad injuries and they really need to find something quickly.
Well, we're just about set. As you can see, the players just warming up for the second half. Josh Franco was there. He moved what has become tradition, if you like, for North Adelaide coaches, Alloway going back and forward.
Yeah, it's unreal. He's such a good player. I think if you're the opposition coach, you don't want Alloway playing forward against you. If he goes back, it's to save the game or just change it a bit. He certainly needs to go forward. I'm sure Franco will play him forward in this half. For them to win the game, they need a quick start to this third quarter, and Alloway will play a big part in that if they're to get back into the game.
Lewis Johnston, though, did show some promise. When he went to centre forward, he kicked a goal.
He did, and I think Lewis Johnston and Alloway can be that two-pronged tall forwards. Boras hasn't done a lot, so he might have to be rested for this second half, or certainly start of the third quarter. Might be the way they go.
There's some experience in that box, isn't there? I mean, Matthew Slade, from memory, what is it, 8-time premiership player with Central District. Mickey Redden, who played in premierships here, all helping along Josh Franco there with his hand to mouth, probably trying to disguise the fact that what exactly he was saying. And then for Chris Massey, he'd be delighted with the opening half.
He's very impressive, Chris Massey, when he's interviewed. He talks good footy. He's certainly set up a great game plan here, and he doesn't seem to be happy with everything either, so he's understated as well.
Absolutely. Just about set for a start to the second half. It's all in front of the Bays and North Adelaide in particular. Let's go to Chris Kendall.
Chris Massey, the picture of relaxation there at half-time. Enjoying this coaching caper this year. Strong possibility of being 2-0. On the other hand, Josh Franco certainly finding out why many coaches either go grey or bald. Speaking of players that have been rather quiet, Brett Backwell struggling at the moment, only the 2 disposals against his old club. You think if they can get him into the mix a bit, get a bit of run around the ground, as I see James Allen's off to half forward, interesting. Might be the spark that they need, because they need a spark from somewhere at the moment. The Roosters trailing by 36 points, and that result across town, heavens above. 54 points, the Redlegs at the moment.
Clint Alloway still in the back half for North, boys.
Ball falls into the lap of Tenace from Button. They go up towards half forward again. The Bays. Coming out to meet it is Trembath. Goes back by hand to Davenport. Davenport wheels around again on the handball. Cut off by Ryswick. Roosters centering it through right.
Advantage there!
Free and advantage. Gee, the advantage just about been lost there. I reckon Alloway was upended. Ball's going to land right in the lap of Reid. He's going to handle over the top unselfishly, and putting it straight home is Stephen Salopek. Margin back out to 42 points, and we've got a strange case of deja vu all over again.
Well, it's exactly the same as the first quarter started when we saw Hendy get a goal. This time it's Salopek, who's been really good today. His form's great. See here, Alloway goes to ground. Button keeps his feet, moves the ball quickly. And again, Reid gets involved. He's that small forward who's just in everything, and Salopek is the recipient in the goal square, kicks the ball out of the ground. And a good goal, great start to Glenelg in the second quarter.
So a fantastic start for the Bays to their second half after they made a fantastic start to the game. Out of the middle. Tigers lead the race for the ball. Salopek gets an awkward bounce. Well done by Johnston, pushes it forward. Could have been interference there as Milne took it away and then dropped it short for the Bays. And Shaw, a good run with the Crows in the pre-season. You fancy he's got a career at a higher level. Gorman taken to ground. Trembath hung on. Wright just trying to help out his team, and in the end, handballing the ball over the interchange gates.
I think Shaw's been super impressive for Glenelg at centre half back. He's really been marshalling the troops back there and has had a terrific game.
Taking him a while to develop some back problems, but seems like he's fully fit and ready to go now as the ball remains on centre wing meanwhile, and the score is a 42-point lead for the Bays as Wright struggles against Salopek, who takes it off him but runs out of space on this, the members' side of this ground at Prospect Oval.
You just wonder if Shaw at 191 can hold down a key position at AFL level. Certainly can at SANFL. He might be more a flanker at AFL level at that height.
Bradley just tries to get it off the ground. Button off to Tenace. Gee, good tackle. Yeah. Called dropping the ball. It's not actually dropping the ball, but we know what he means. Ryswick. Handball's off. Oh, straight into the man on the mark there at Ryswick. It's Allen that gets the smother. So the hind play there. Tenace is in a bit of trouble.
It's almost a statement made right there. Like, Alan, you just couldn't get through him. He's like a brick wall. Just stood there strong, tough.
Well, look what happened to Tenace back there. Yeah, brought down heavily, quite legally. Roosters clearing it away at the stoppage. Beats them over the boundary line. Going to have a throw in as Kane Tenace comes to the bench. Let's have another look there.
Let's have a look. It might be his right knee.
Yeah, just got crunched there, didn't it?
Yeah, a little bit of medial ligament stuff. See how it pans out.
I'm going to rest him for the rest of the game the way they're going. Tierley off to Ivans. Next in the chain will be Bennett. He's going to have to get rid of it quickly, and he does to Ivans. Ivans unloads deep in the 50. They need something from Boris. Been very quiet today. 1 kick, 1 mark. They have a throw-in. Johnston in the contest there, but Boris we have hardly seen today.
Alan Wright and Backwell all around this stoppage. Smalls for the Roosters.
Curry, who started brightly. Button gets it away at the stoppage. To the outer side. Armstrong will be hoping for a kind bounce. He's got Holmes right on his hammer and tack. Beats him over the boundary line, and we're going to have a throw-in. It's Glenelg by 42 points. Stephen Salopek, 15 disposals.
And lo and behold, they're testing the medial ligament, Rod.
Yeah, I thought it might have been medial just watching the way that he went, but hopefully he'll be okay.
So ball thrown in. They desperately need a couple of goals in a row, North Adelaide. And then a few after that to follow up would be kind of handy. Bennett has to surrender it meanwhile.
Coming out boundary.
My wife's a physio, Crossy, so she'll be happy with my diagnosis.
Well done by Lyons, showing good pace, was tripped. Umpire will call play on advantage now as he gets to his feet, goes to half forward. Trembath with the lead up. He's called a play on immediately. I didn't know he stepped around at all, but he drives it up inside 50, and Blee reads it best. Former East Perth boy, recruited by the Crows. Recruited by Port, I should say, just taking his time. Down the line he goes with a kick. Well taken by Bennett, quick to give it to Tierley. Tierley, though, he ran outside to his left foot, and he didn't leave himself much room to get away from the tackler, who was able to just fall off onto him. And over at the parade, it's an absolute shellacking. 11 goals the Eagles are down by. And with a bit of luck, we'll see some of that match at the end of the game. So here's Wright. He's taken the ground. He's trying his best. He got one high. Agnew, the offender. And Matty Wright centres to the corridor with a dangerous kick to Tierley.
So Tierley keeps it on the outer side there for the Roosters. James Allen goes back inboard to Bennett. Bennett 70 out from goal. He's sitting there in position at the back is Young if he can get it. Can't quite get it. Boris twisting, turning, gets the handball away just in time. Now it's with Allen having a flying shot at the goal, sitting all under the ball, all by himself is Young. 4th goal for the Roosters. Margins back to 36 points. Yeah, they went a long way about it, but they finally got there.
Yeah, that's a lot better. You see Allen getting that ball at the front of the pack, albeit around about the 50-metre mark. Just need that small representation, don't they, at the front of the pack. They need to improve there. Allen got the ball onto boot. And very quickly and well done by Young. Plays on, gets the goal. Saying North needed that to be an understatement, boys.
Rod, really important as well for North. They just control the ball movement up the ground.
Yeah, they need to move it quickly and they need to use the dangerous areas, Ben. I think into the corridor then was impressive, and that's what we want to see for them to get back into the game.
Craig. He looked to bring it down to right. Button just stood there and took it, got the clearance himself. Trembath has the ball knocked away, but took front position impressively, and now Alloway over the top with the tackle, looks to the umpire. And the umpire calls for possession to his good self. So Glenelg with another centre clearance.
Play on, play on.
2 ruckmen stumble over. McGinty goes to ground. Craig tries to follow up, and umpire circling will come in and put the ball in the air again.
Guys, this is amazing here. Glenelg has got no one forward of this stoppage in their forward 50.
And looking for a clearance, possession, and kicking over the top. And this time it's Lyons. Well, you don't need anybody forward of the ball if you kick goals like that.
I reckon that's deliberate. They must rehearse that at training. We have a stoppage. You watch here. You see the stoppage here. There's no one within, apart from within 5 metres of the contest, no Glenelg player. So they all set up behind the ball, pump it out in line. Fantastic finish and a great goal to Glenelg. Great setup.
Nathan Lyons, 17 disposals so far today. Certainly has been very busy for the Tigers.
Ty Allen coming off the ground, he's been instrumental in this lead that Glenelg have. Just his toughness around the ball leading the way.
So margins back to 42 points for the Tigers. Lions trying to get his way to disposal number 18. Going to have a ball up. Just wonder what Josh Franco can do, Rocket, just to spark them. What else he can change around?
No.
Craig gets the handball off to Ivans, under pressure back to Tearley. So many disposals are under pressure. Now it comes back inboard to Craig. Ryswick. Armstrong, I should say, just chipping into the 50. Looking out there for Young. He keeps his feet. Can he get the handball away? Yes, he does. Armstrong, he's looking back there for Wright. Just overshoots him. Rudolph should have plenty of time and space to steady. And he's got Salopek on the outer side. Salopek takes a bounce. He's got Thompson bearing down upon him. Goes out long and direct, but well cut off out there by Keller. Keller wheels back inboard. He was looking for Ivans. That's an absolute shocker. Ivans should have time to try and get something away. It's not a clean disposal, unfortunately. Good defensive pressure in there again from Reid, and we're going to have a ball up. And we've said that all day, Rocket. The Tigers forwards are so good with their defensive pressure when it's in their zone.
They are. It's obviously an area they're working on, and they pride themselves on, and they're doing it very well today.
Oh, Lions brilliantly off the top of the pack and just away to the right with the minus score. But, boy, that was impressive piece of roving from the young man.
He's an impressive player, isn't he? He's certainly had a lot of the footy today, and he's doing it well against quality opposition in Wright and Allen.
North Adelaide with a hit and hope. Gets to the back of Tearley. Well done by Tenace, who I noticed the last contested half-back went down again for the Bays. Ball hits the chest. Hender, well, a fresh air shot. I think he was maybe thinking about kicking that with his non-preferred right foot, and it certainly showed that it was non-preferred. Now Ivans, just inside defensive 50 for North Adelaide. No run.
Play on now.
Ivans keeping it on the outer side where it's with Allen. Virtually playing a lone hand. He's got Armstrong in the centre. Now Armstrong's got time to run. He's got space. Goes up towards right. 1-2. Couldn't quite get the third. Tenace gets the handball away, and that's good work from Shaw. Oh, he shows them some candy again. Looks to go long and direct up towards half-forward. It falls into Lyons' hands. He goes off by hand. Sam Reid's going to slam through goal number 3, you would reckon. He certainly does. Oh, they are irrepressible at the moment, the Tigers. Margin out to 49 points. They just get that run going, Rocket, and they're so hard to stop.
They're brilliant, just the way they move the ball. You see Reid, he kicks the ball 60 metres compared to North Adelaide, who took 3 or 4 kicks to cover 60 metres. Straight down the corridor. Lyon is fantastic again. He's a real player, this boy. And he finds Reid, who's been the beneficiary in that forward line, who's created a lot of good play. He and Trenbath as small forwards have been fantastic. Gets his 3rd goal, which is just reward.
3 goals for Ben Reid and a 49-point margin in favour of the Bays. If you're a Bays fan watching this, you'd be absolutely entertained and very expectant about what they could do this season. Everybody expected that they would drop down the ladder somewhat. We know they've had a turnover of around about 20 players this season as the Roosters bring it away through Allen, the 3-time Magarey medalist in his 200th game, or 100th game, I should say. On centre wing, there's a fight on behind play as the ball goes in deep, and Curran showed bravery to go back and take that mark. I think Armstrong was involved with Salopek briefly. Caught the attention of a few spectators as the ball comes to Tenace. And the wide option is Milne. And Milne can go short to Salopek, and he does so. So just chip the ball up. Salopek considers they've got players inside, certainly in the centre square they've got an option, and that's the one he picks out. It's Curran. Curran's hand pass took a while to get to where it was supposed to go, but Pitt was able to take it on the run, and behind play there's a holding decision against Dalloway. Or maybe it was holding the leg was what the umpire indicated, but Kirkby will take the free kick well off the ball, as you can tell by this. Kirkby at centre half forward looks up and takes the free kick, and Alloway still arguing the point. I don't think, Clint, that the umpire will change his mind. So Kirkby from 50 with the support of the breeze gets it to the square, and it's punched through by Craig for the minus score for the Bays. Did they make any more mistakes, North Adelaide?
No, they can't, but the pressure put on by by Glenelg's back 6 in particular, they had the most kicked against them last year, so the worst defensive side. Today they've been unbelievable. They've only had 4 goals kicked against them and 7 goals last game, so they've certainly improved in that area.
Certainly working very hard on little things over summer. Ivans. He's been totally corralled out here. He's going to need a long lead from Bennett. who's opposed 2-on-1. Bennett's going to have to go back in there and force the pressure. Over the boundary line, he just lets Angus Lally know that he's there. The margin's 50 points. I reckon they want more scoreboard impact than that sort of thing. 80 metres around from the Glenelg goal. Craig certainly tried hard. Agnew. Craig in there. Going to have another ball up.
I'm right for now, thank you.
History fans at three-quarter time. The 1973 grand final highlights, North Adelaide and Glenelg. Of course, that massive mark from Graham Corns in the latter stages.
Too high. Steve Salpek, your kick too high.
Never before seen colour footage. Looking forward to that one enormously. It's always, we've seen that so many times, the iconic black and white footage. Salapak gets the free, off to McGinty. McGinty looking to go long up towards the hot spot, about 25 metres out. Reed's trying to crumb his way through again. Good work in there from Blee. Ty Allen gets the handball away. Twisting, turning through traffic. Chris Curran puts through his first for the day. They just can't do anything wrong at the moment, the Tigers.
Well, it's the way they set up, boys. I was watching the ball go in then, and all their smalls got front and square to that dangerous area. They knew where to kick the ball. You can see them queuing up there. There's Reed, there's Allen. Ball goes out the back to Allen. Queuing up out the back this time. The beneficiary's Curran, and finishes off. This is just copybook footy by Glenelg. Really impressive. Another good goal. They're well on top here.
Well, it's becoming embarrassing for the Roosters. As we said, their average losing margin across 13 games last season was 14 points, I believe, and they never copped a pasting like this.
They wanted to change that, and they have, haven't they?
Yeah, well, the Bays have taken them apart. And I know the Roosters fans won't react well to this. Away comes Thompson. Some polite applause for a break from the centre. And then even more ironic applause from the Roosters fans as Boras leads out and takes the easiest of marks. He's kicked one behind this afternoon. Just remembering that in round 13 last year, he earned 3 McGarry votes for kicking 8 straight against the Bays.
Yeah, it's good to see Thompson get some touches. I think he's a good player. He needs to get around the ball a bit more, and that was better. Long forward 50 entry. Boras was in space and gets a chance to score.
And he just doesn't put it through. And is that an indication of what the Roosters' day's been like?
It certainly is. Let's watch Glenelg here. They've been really good at bringing the ball back into play. It's only their third chance.
Ball comes back in. Getting the handball in there was Young, but McGinty, gee, he's been pretty good today. Coughs it straight up, unfortunately, right on cue. Sorry, Warwick. Off to Young. Tigers have got numbers around here at the stoppage. Tenace set up on there, and we're going to have a ball up at the parade. It's Nord leading the Eagles by 84 points. My understanding is there is a big story unfolding at that game involving a player who didn't take the field today. We'll look more into that as time goes on. Wright. He's worked tirelessly today, hasn't had much support though. Armstrong set upon on a tackle straight away. We're going to have a ball up. So Nord, 14 goal leaders over the Eagles at the moment. Michael Godden. I'd say the honeymoon is over at Oval Avenue. Trying to work his way through is Lally to the advantage of Davenport. It's good work in there from the Roosters through Clisby. Picks out Wright, grandstand side. Wright brings it inboard, looking for Johnston, who presents. He certainly hasn't been their worst either. He's presented wherever he can. Looking for Boras, it's to his feet. Needs to just try and create a stoppage now. Mules, twisting, turning, is Curry. Oh, he's twisted and turned straight back to Reed. Holmes pushed in the back. It's going to be a free kick, and they'll relieve off half-back.
Won't make Michael Redden happy that he was really concerned with their release from their forward 50 earlier in the game. So again, just needing to hold the ball in and try and get another scoring shot.
Holmes goes wide. Trembath, who ran 30-40 metres on the lead and then takes it on centre wing. He's usually a good kick. Gee, that was a good spot up to Benny Mules running from half back. Now Mules has got the lead up from Davenport. The chain can continue.
Right on it, North. You're right on it.
Button comes on the lead. He goes instead looking for Lyons. They're able to cut it off the Roosters. Now Curry shares it with Clisby. He's doing his best to ignite something from the back. He goes wide for Johnston, who laconically pulls the ball in. Then his kick turns it straight over to Holmes. Well, Holmes couldn't believe his luck because he looked over his shoulder thinking, well, there's got to be somebody coming at me, but there wasn't.
There was no method in the way North went forward then. They just blasted away and they had no numbers because they'd put all their forwards back in the defensive area.
Curran running off half-back, directs it wide to Kirkby, pulls inside, shows some candy that time to Alloway, effectively. Inside the full forward to Hender, who was up high. Umpire called play on. He just dropped it on the way down, Hender, but he stayed over the ball. And what North Adelaide couldn't do at the other end, Lewis Hender has done. He has forced, no, he hasn't forced a stoppage. Thompson eventually gets away to Teely on the left leg. Teely goes long, looking for Johnston. Got good purchase on the ball. Well done by Lewis Johnston. Boris comes at him. Boris should, no, not be advantaged by the ball. It falls over the back, but covering up was Rudolph. He takes it towards the line, and he may have even got a free kick there. He didn't. Let's have another look at a couple of leaps, and one in particular from Lewis Hender.
A little bit of Ross Gibbs in that, if you can remember from a former era.
The human highlights reel Ross Gibbs, and Lewis Hender's having a fair crack at it himself. It's very Michael Newton-esque there. Don't know if these blokes know there's not a Carver mark of the year in the SANFL. Twisting and turning there is Teely. Just gets the handball away to Reiswick. He's sold into all sorts of trouble. The Tigers, they've kicked to a 3-on-1 out here. The numbers are with North Adelaide. They should recover. Ivans gets it off to Clisby. Needs to spot up a target. Kicks into the 50. That's cut off very well out there by Milne. Milne's been great today.
He's a good player, this bloke. He's courageous.
The next one on the chain's not too bad either, Andrew Bradley. Just spilt at one of his rear areas today. Clisby goes back inboard to Stewie Hill. Hill onto the wrong foot, brings it inboard, and straight to Jimmy Allen, who goes off by hand. Off to Johnston. Johnston's going to unload from 50. Kicks on its way. Lovely goal by Johnston. That's his second for the day. Margin back to 49 points. Unselfish there by James Allen.
Very good. That was well thought out. Allen looked to size up to have a shot. He saw Johnston, knows he's a good kick, and he called for the ball and he gave it to him. Just watch here again. How it unfolds. Found Allen. It was within his grasp to go back and have a shot, but he knew Johnson was better placed, and a long kick. Fantastic finish, never looked like missing it. That's what North Adelaide need, but they probably need another 7 of them quickly.
Well, we're just ticking into time on in this third term. Baby steps, I suppose. If you can get a couple of goals in time on, then you can work on something with the breeze in the final quarter. Beautiful tap down by Curry to Allen, and now Teely on his left leg, his natural leg. He goes wide for Thompson. He'll have Holmes for pace, you would think, and he does. And then off the left foot, he just pokes it for Armstrong, and Armstrong has Teely running for him, and that's where he goes. Teely takes the mark. He's still 70 from goal. He waits for the lead. Reiswick comes to him. Reiswick ends up with a 2-on-1, and somehow the ball falls to the back. Reiswick gathers, can straighten for goal, and he has put it through. Good finish.
That's better.
And finally a roar from the Rooster fans.
Yeah, they've been waiting for it all day. Lee Reiswick it was in this instance, who finishes really well. Good work by North. They got it in there. Didn't really have the numbers up, but Reiswick, quick recovery, kept his feet, came in, and he is a good finisher and kicks their second goal in a row. They've been a lot better out of the centre, boys. They're 4-2 this quarter, and that's where it starts and gives them a chance to slowly work their way back into the game.
2 in a row. Momentum can be a funny thing in football. If they can get another couple unanswered ones before three-quarter time, who knows what can happen. Allen tapping in front of himself for the stoppage. Gets the handball away. Now he goes inboard to Armstrong. Armstrong for a long lead. Looking out there for Craig. Well hacked away there by Rudolph from the danger zone. Going to have a throw-in.
It's good work, boys, but once again, you see they just didn't have that small who could be at the front of the pack and to rove that ball and get it back into a dangerous area. It's an area where North need to improve.
So Button and Curry. Agnew being held. Legally, says the umpire. Lyons gets it away. Very good at the stoppages all day. Looking out there for Agnew. Armstrong on hands and knees. Spun around the tackle. Coughs it straight up, unfortunately, to Salopek. Looking for Davenport. Davenport on the run. Unloads from 45. Kicks on its way. There's the quick answer. And the margin back to 49 points. We're waiting for a celebration from Davenport. Nothing really happening.
No, he's taking it in his stride now. Good build-up too, again, by Glenelg. Just got to add in a little bit of space, and Davenport, once again, he's very confident around goals. As soon as he got possession, he knew he was going to have a shot, took the responsibility, and kicked a really good goal.
coming to the bench to have a well-deserved break, Jason Davenport. He's also a little bit sore. He's got a whack on the left hip, so he's got a bit of a limp up and a fair bit of tape on there, but didn't impede him that time shooting for goal. A great goal.
Left hip, the hair, the left shoulder, all strapped up there for...
He's got it all going on.
He's even working the crowd down here too, boys.
Well, Button did pretty well, so did Allen. Got it out towards the umpire and Teely, and in the end I think they were about to share the ball. Turnover, Allen puts it into space. Holmes is a great kick from 51 metres. He is just under pressure from Thompson, who closed him down, and for the minor score. So it's back to that 50-point margin in favour of the Bays. Roosters bring it in quickly.
Indeed they do. Keeping it again on that outer side. Teely couldn't quite get clear purchase on it. Got some support from Thompson. Now it's with Alloway wheeling around. Looks to try and centre it in the Bennett direction. Bennett, oh, he didn't even hear him coming. Gone, holding the ball. Great tackle. Well done, Ty Allen.
Guess who? It's like a bear out there, isn't he? Like, you just can't get around him or get away from him.
Let's look at this. Beautiful tackle. If you're a junior watching that, replay that a few times. Allen tips it over the top. He's looking for Holmes, but...
Wouldn't replay that a few times.
No. Let's end the coaching clinic there, I think. Ryswick receives it from Blee. Goes back inboard to Curry. Hands off. Now it's ending up with Allen. Wheels into the 50, looking for Johnston. Well punched away there by Rudolph. And he roves it himself. Guess who? Ty Allen. Kicks it out. 2-on-1 out here. They can probably raffle at the Tigers, boys. Salopek will be the first one to get it. He was thinking of going off to Lions. But you've got an option in the pocket. Why wouldn't you just go there? Wheeling around is Kirkby. Hasn't kicked a goal today. Hasn't joined the party just yet.
He didn't kick one last week either from memory, but it doesn't matter when you're kicking 13 goals in less than 3 quarters and your key forward doesn't kick the goal. Wouldn't be too worried.
Fair to say if he kicks it, we might get a roar from Kirkby. Kicks on its way. It wheels around. Unroll the vocal cords, Rory. There's his first. Margin out to 56 points, and they're sharing it around the Tigers.
Look, Kirkby's been terrific because he's been creating the contest. And that's what he needs to do. His small forwards have been on song all day. Salopek, you see here, Lyons was there if he needed to use him. But he saw Kirkby in space and went back and kicked a much-deserved goal. But his form's been great today. He's been competing really hard and giving his smalls the opportunity, and that's what you want from a big man.
Not a lot of sustainability for North Adelaide. They kicked 2 in a row for the first time in the match. They looked like they had something going. And they've allowed the Bays to hit back. They're well clear. You can't be more than a few minutes away from 3/4 time. Here's Thompson out of the middle, and he just drives it long. North Adelaide will get the chance to give Johnson another fly at the ball. All the ground mules just paddled the ball backwards to Lally, and then Lally went wide, and he just went inside the boundary line. That was well. An educated kick will give him the benefit of the doubt. It's probably just a bit lucky. Stephen Salopek run himself into some good form this afternoon. Chris Massey, even at this late stage of the 3rd term and such a commanding lead, is on the phone trying to communicate something. Allen smoothly out of defence, and then they go wide through Davenport. Out there on the far side, Salopek again with possession. Salopek just taking his time, content to. Nobody comes to him. He's got plenty of time, even though the umpire did call play on. Back towards centre wing. Big leap from Kirkby. Just got under it a bit. McGinty did well. And now Kirkby works a 1-2 with Curran approaching 50. Curran from 50. He closes and just went the wrong side of the post. And Hinder put up an arm, realising that was where the ball was bound.
Roosters bring it back in quickly through Teely. Looks to centre the ball to Allen. Bit of a one-man show out there for them. That's one thing they're going to be really wary of, the Roosters. Lee looking to bring it back inboard to Gorman. Gorman, he's looking out for Armstrong on a long lead. Just beats him over the boundary line. We're going to have a throw-in. My understanding from the Nord Eagles game, Nathan Eagleton did not play reserves today. And we may hear more about that. Incident there on the monitor. Injury there. What's happening down there, Ben?
Not too much, just Lachlan Button getting a bit of work on his right groin, so maybe just leaving most of the ruck work up to Warwick McGinty for the rest of the game.
Not surprised, he's been very busy today, big Lockie Button. Bit of pain on his face there. I'd suggest that pain will evaporate in about 40 minutes' time unless we see a remarkable turnaround from North Adelaide. Well rode for the stoppage there by Bradley. Looking out there for Salopek. Punches it away from Ivans, and we're going to have a throw-in. Glenelg in command, Neil, by 57 points.
Luke Ivans, one stage, not sure if he still has a nickname Papa, but he did have it as one of the older, more authoritative players in the club. Lally slips it wide for Lyons. Lyons from an acute angle. Oh, of course he kicks it. It's been that sort of afternoon for the Bays.
He's been a super player today, Lyons. Just been everywhere. His work at the foot of the pack, the way he finishes off, just covers himself in glory. Obviously destined to play higher than what we're seeing today, but brilliant finish by Lyons. And he's been a fantastic small today for Glenelg.
Lions 21 possessions and 2 goals.
Corey Ogilvie there on stats doing a fantastic job today, and he's been kept very busy by the Glenelg midfield, that's for certain.
Yep.
Jared Lyons been fantastic for them today, but it's hard to pick out a bad player for Glenelg at the moment, but you've got to ask, you know, it's only round 3, but North Adelaide, we expected a bit more from them this season, and no real expectation on the Tigers, you wouldn't have thought. Turned over the list pretty cleverly. James Craig wrapped up in a tackle, and we're going to have a ball up. Allen's tackling Craig now. Allen's prepared to take on anybody at the moment. Why wouldn't you? Right, ridden into the turf, free kick. Allen gets it at the stoppage. The siren, we just heard it beep. It's a little bit hard to tell here at Prospect sometimes.
I heard the siren before the kick, and it was a forward kick.
Well, yes, the umpire did just hear the siren. No score, though, unfortunately, because he's latched onto a beautiful torpy there, Lewis Johnson, but it's not going to count Roosters fans. The siren had gone, and it's Glenelg 15-12-102, North Adelaide 6-3-39 in the shortest siren in the history of SANFL, Rocket.
Yeah, it was a short siren. Gee, Glenelg looked like North were getting back into the game, yet it was Glenelg's best quarter. They've kicked 7 goals to nearly double their score from half-time. So 7 goals to Glenelg has cemented their dominance on this game. Another great quarter by them. North tried. They had spurts where they looked okay, but Glenelg just shut it down quickly. They were very good.
Well, that was one of the shortest sirens I've ever heard, and I've got a feeling that when we look into it, we might find that the timekeeper may well have slipped and not meant to have pushed that button. But anyway, fortunately, it's not a close game. There's a fair distance between the sides. I don't think it's going to make much difference in the final analysis.
I don't think so. It's another time when the siren went, I think at half-time when James Allen had the ball, and it went again when they had a chance and kicked a goal after the siren. So things not going North's way, but they need to make it go their way. It's not luck in footy that wins you games. They really need to change things. They started to work their way into it through the midfield, Neil, which was good, but just Glenelg's dominance all around the ground, superbly led by Ty Allen and his tough footy.
Wonderful segue too, because the Bay's well in control this afternoon. We're going to cast our minds back. This is a great one. This is the 1973 grand final. North Adelaide came into this match on the back of 2 premierships in a row, and then they took on Glenelg in the 1973 grand final, with the Bays chasing their first victory since 1934. It was a great contest, and this is the first time we've been able to bring it to you in colour.
There's the first flash coming up. It's going to be grabbed by Sagentu in the centre. He's slow to get rid of it. And umpire Douglas said holding the ball. Then up taken by Fred Phillips. There's the ball thrown to him actually by Caldwell. That was well done. He shoots for goal right across the face of goals. Up they go. That looked like cords, and the pick it up there. Bennett's got it banging through the centre. Marsh tried to kick it away. Goes towards Barry Robin. He's got it at centre-half forward. Will go for the long kick down towards the southern end. It's on its way. It's through. A great goal then. Bennett goes for a short one across towards centre-half forward. Looking for
Caldwell! Oh, magnificent mark. The Springer goes for a long handball over the top towards Rodney Robin. Rodney Robin looking for a handball. Dummies. He's in trouble. 20 metres out. Snaps towards goals. It's through the middle. Caldwell handballs onto Hamilton. Hamilton dodges around 2 or 3 players. Handballs the Voigt. Voigt from 20 metres out. Straight in front of goal. It's through. Oh, that was beautiful play by Glenelg.
The tap comes down. No, it didn't really get tapped clear. Been picked up quickly by Plummer. He puts it down towards full forward. Sachs goes for it over the back for again to try to get the ball. It must be a goal. Sachs, open goal. Shoots for home. It's on its way. And it's through for full point. Fires a handball over to Wickens. They're into an open goal. Wickens goes for home towards that northern goal. It's going to be through. A That's another goal. 13th goal on the board. 13-10, 88 to 9-10, 9-11.
Punched further on by Highwood. Through goes Stringer, showing superior pace. Pace rather. He's been tripped up, picked up now by Revick from 30 yards out on a 45-degree angle. He snaps towards goal. It's a great goal. It goes through to Neil Sachs. Neil Sachs onto his right foot. A screw punt towards centre half forward. Punched over the back by Mars. Play onto the umpire. Grabbed by Dennis Sachs. A handball to Revick. Revick onto his left foot. 20 yards out. On an angle and through it goes. Through the middle.
Tremendous finish to this game. Into the goal square. Players get set up. Goes Dennis Sachs. He's marked it in front. Right in front. This would make 124 points to 125. There's runners going everywhere through the centre. The right forward pocket position throw themselves over the top of the ball. Picked up by Marriott. His kick back towards the goal square again. Corns from behind. He grabbed it. Corns mark. A magnificent mark.
Oh, that was one of the freak marks of the year.
And I'll tell you what, if he caps it off with a goal here, that will put them 1 point in front. The kick by Corns is on its way. Cleared it through. And Corns has put that goal, his first, incidentally, on the board.
One of the runners got in the way there, picked up by Tregenza. Tregenza handballs towards Millard. Millard handballs back towards the Fred Phillips. It is onto his left foot, a high one into the full forward area. Players setting themselves again. It's been marked by Sandland. Well, this could be the sealer. Sandland was in front. Sandland, a very, very important one here. The siren has gone. Glenelg have won, but Sandland's coming in now, and there it goes, and it's another goal. So that is it. There it is, the year of the Tiger, ladies and gentlemen. Glenelg running out winners with that last goal from Sandland. A fantastic effort by the Bays to come back after being headed in the last few moments.
So that final score there, 21-11 for the Bays, and they just got up in that match. And gee, there's some interesting symmetry there with Peter Carey played in that match as I think he was a 17-year-old then. He went on to play 2 more premierships for Glenelg, the only 3-time premiership player in club history. And of course, Graham Corns, who kicked what basically was the winning goal from that mark, went on to coach those 2 premierships for Glenelg as well.
Yeah, fantastic, historical game, I guess. It goes down in the memory bank, but you always hear about Corns' mark, and a great effort by Glenelg.
That's our first look, of course, of the colour of the Corns mark. Let's have a look at this game and how it's unfolded for the Bays. And gee, they took control in the opening quarter, 9 shots to just 1. And from then on, really, they've never really been challenged.
No, they set the standard from the start. Clearly winning first quarters is important, but they've won every quarter, and it's really difficult to win every quarter in a game. See if they can do it for 4 quarters. But the midfield, the defence and the attack ends of the ground have just dominated in every area.
Quick look through those goal kickers this afternoon, and Reid has popped up. Ben Reid's been fantastic with 3. Hender, Lyons and Davenport with 2 each for the Tigers. And, well, it's been hard going for the Roosters and for their coach, Josh Franco, who's with Ben Knights.
Thanks, Crossy. Josh, really important to run this last quarter out.
Yeah, look, I've got no more hair to pull out at the moment, and we're struggling on the scoreboard. We're getting beaten just about everywhere. And the message to the players is just about getting a bit of respect back on the scoreboard.
What are you looking at out of your players? I mean, last week they fell away late. Is it important if you do get that last quarter today out of them that they can lift and maybe take that into next week?
Oh, look, no, I'm not looking at that at this point in time. To be brutally honest with you, just looking at it individually, how they respond in this last quarter, and I don't want to see individuals throw the towel in. If they do, then their spot's on the line.
And a few of your boys that were back early, you've pushed up forward. They found a bit of footy that quarter?
Yeah, they did, but not enough.
Now let's have a look at the last quarter, and let's see if something can be resurrected by the Roosters. Chris Kendall, they've got a job in front of them.
Certainly do. It's going to be the old adage of schoolboy footy, just win the quarter. You always know that you're getting on a bit when they start showing grand finals from the year you were born as history. A little bit young to remember that, unfortunately. Only a few weeks old then. It was at the 75 grand final though, and 78, 82, 84. No pattern emerging there. Ball's back in the centre here to start off the final term at Prospect Oval.
Sure you don't want to go over to the parade.
Button. Right, gets it in the 1-2 with Armstrong. Evans looking to go long, and it falls straight into the arms of Alloway. One of the few times he's had an uncontested go at the ball all day. Alloway looks to go long inboard, and he's coughed it straight up to Rudolph. Chips it over the top. Tigers keeping it on this side through Pitt. Last week's Star Search winner. Gives it on to Salopek. Salopek has been outstanding today, I might add. Tigers just holding possession. Goes back over the top to Pitt.
What do you want there, Jim? Stay there.
Wonder if there'd be any room left at the parade at the moment. Crossy, there'd be Nord fans streaming in to watch that result. We'll get a score on that game soon. Kirkby moving a long way up the ground. Chipping over the top. Where he spots up Milne. And for any Nord fans, don't really know many in the box at the moment. There'll be plenty of highlights from that one after the game. Ivans mops up at the back. He was looking for Keller, searching for Keller. Lyons cut it off. Of course he would. Hill, who's been very quiet on the stat sheet today, back to Blee. Blee just tries to hack it out of the area. He does, but straight to the grateful arms of Curran. Run down from behind. Armstrong gets the handball away. Heard the voice on the outside. Not the greatest of disposals. Sets it up for Rudolph. Rudolph's got a couple of options. Twists, turns, goes back by hand to Shaw. Shaw puts it back into the middle of the prospect oval. Agnew looking to wheel around and go long and deep into attack. Couple queuing up for it. Trembath.
Yeah, good work by Glenelg, and they've found Trembath, who is a good kick for goal. We'll see how he goes from here. He's played a good game today. Again, one of the Tigers' small forwards. Pretty much just stayed in that forward half today, but has created a lot of headaches for his North Adelaide opponents.
Josh Trembath has kicked the one goal today. Those Nord Eagles highlights, I'll guarantee you they won't include Nathan Eagleton. Big story unfolding there. Trembath will be kicking from just inside the 50. Kicks on its way. That is swinging back, and the win was his friend. 16-12, 108 Glenelg North, 6-3, 39.
Yeah, great goal by Trembath. Difficult kick from there. But good work by Agnew, who's come off the bench and done a really good job, as well as every Glenelg player has. I don't think there's been a loser today. They seem to have won almost every position. But Trembath has been really good and is a super kick for goal. From a difficult position, he's made that look easy.
Just looked confident about what he was doing, didn't he? Josh Trembath, former Brighton bomber. Well, I reckon his mum gave him his nickname. His nickname's Bubbles. Maybe he's a West Ham United fan, I don't know. Ball out of the middle. Lions.
No.
Ball wide. Blee going after it. He's had a tough day out. Davenport, he's had a tough day out, but he's going to come out a winner. Ball into the path of Lions. If he can gather it, he's clever. He just got it back to Reed. Roosters had numbers there. They share the ball. Eventually to Bennett, and he's run out of people to share it with, so he goes backwards. Curry, Keller. And then finally Clisby finds a target.
Thank you, Ty.
Oh, dangerous kick from Ryswick. Right. Had Ivans wide. Decided against that. Came to this side of the ground, almost turned it over. They're doing their hardest, their darndest, North Adelaide, to turn the ball over. And eventually the ball trapped in under a couple of players and will get a ball up at left half back for the Roosters, who are getting plenty of advice from their fans.
Matthew Wright hasn't had a great effect on the game so far. He started off well, boys, but haven't seen a lot of him since, really.
Keller was the man who crashed in then, and I think he may have copped a knee in the ribs for his trouble. Agnew, slow to get up. Chris Kendall, stay where you are. It's Norwood over the Eagles by 79 points. Well, that's just an amazing turnaround for the Eagles. Slow to start the season. Do I hear the call hangover?
Yeah, well, it would appear that way, and it's a big turnaround from the prelim final result from last year, isn't it?
Just a reminder that after the game we will have some highlights from the parade, and off the ball free kick against Lyon will go to Thompson, and Wright will not get the possession, which was very good to Teely, who had about 35 metres of space in front of him. So it'll all come back, and it all is just unravelling for North Adelaide.
He does use the ball well normally, Thompson.
No exception this time. Ryswick with the leader. Looks back centre corridor. Umpire calls him to play on, so he goes down the line to half forward. McGinty tried to make a contest, didn't get there. Johnston, we know he's a long kick and a good kick. He gives it plenty of air. Boris comes from behind, doesn't get anywhere near the ball, and then Bennett with a good rove, but unlikely, or rather unhappy about the finish.
Well, that's the crumb we've been looking for most of the day, isn't it? That was really well done, except that he didn't finish off with a goal.
Tigers to bring it back in. I wouldn't mind getting Matthew Wright stats in a minute, thanks, Corey. He's, as Rocker mentioned, he's been quiet, but he has been around the mark. It's one of those games where probably a bit of possession, but hasn't done a lot with it, if that makes sense, Corey.
Yeah, 22 possessions, Chris.
He has had a bit of it, but perhaps not as much as what Josh Franco would like. Good mark in front from Curry. He's been pretty good, actually, I reckon, Curry. Handball's off to Allen. James Allen going to the 50. He was searching out Johnston. Johnson just handballed over the back of his head. Tanay's taken high, free kick. No lasting damage to that medial by the looks of things.
Thank you. Stay up, guys. I need everyone out. Everyone
He
out.
appears to have recovered pretty well, considering.
That'd be the one thing that Chris Massey would be very wary of today. Injuries in such a big win. Not the greatest of kicks there from Tanais. Cut off by Armstrong. Go over the boundary line. Chris Massey on the phone there, just ringing the changes, keeping everyone focused. Youngest senior coach in SANFL at the moment, as Rod mentioned, very impressive speaker. Knew the enormity of the task when he moved into Brighton Road. Wasn't afraid to make the hard calls on some of the players. And today, at least, he's been vindicated. McGinty against Craig, gets the tap down. Just clearing it away at the stoppage there was right.
Man in front.
Man in front's going to be paid. And it's Milne.
Got to give it man in front.
Riley Milne chips over the top to Curran.
Play on.
Chris Curran. That man, Ty Allen, out in front of the cricket club. Looking for Kirkby, playing a long way up the ground. Hill did get in his back legally, says the umpire, and we are going to have a throw-in. It's Glenelg by 68 points.
Kirkby, invaluable for them this afternoon, the Bays. Just up and back across half forward, we know that. Their leading goal kicker last season is Kristen Thompson, taken down by Grizzly out. Oh, sorry, it's Ty Allen.
You've been waiting all day for that, you.
Gorman just slaps it forward, and it really is hitting hope for North Adelaide. And here's what's coming the other way as Lyon takes a couple of bounces. He waits. Hender goes back to the square. Hender then comes forward, and Hender gets the resulting kick. Not quite. Ball knocked away from him. He's good enough to get it back. Somehow smuggled it, I think, the Lions. More good luck than good management. And you have to admire Jake Keller then, because he did put enough pressure on for North Adelaide.
He did, but Lyons is a very, very impressive young player. He's only 14 games old, and as I said before, he's destined to play a higher level than this.
Curry and Kirkby too busy waving their arms in the air to actually touch that ball, and then it came back to Curry, who did well to Ryswick, who set up Ivans, was good enough to give it to the big man. That's a good kick by Curry. All things considered, just dropped a little bit short of Johnston, who now has the run of it. A lot of space in front of him to kick into, and he puts it out in front of Boris. And Mules, consummate defender, just gets it away beautifully, sets up Holmes on centre wing. We know he's a beautiful kick. No exception to Reid. Reid has a runner, and they'll go inside half forward through Milne. And Milne spots up Salopek, who wants to play on immediately to Lyon. And Lyons just got under the ball, and they probably let North Adelaide off the hook then as Gorman goes to ground, and the umpire will call for the ball up. It just looks so good, except for that last kick from Salopek.
Yeah, he went for Lyons too. He just had the 4 bounces down the other side of the ground and backed up. He's suffering a little bit from his run all day. Might need a bit of a spell.
Gorman wrapped up in a tackle there by Agnew. Ball spills free. Another rolling tackle. Good work in there from Bradley. We're going to have a ball up. Andrew Bradley's stats, Corey. He started out very, very well. He just faded out a little bit in the third term, though.
Coming out this way. Let him run here.
Once again, Glenelg has no one in the goal square at this stoppage. Everyone's back around the footy.
13 for Bradley, Chris.
Thanks, Corey. Agnew wheels away at the stoppage, kicks on its way. It's going to be a fair way short of the goals, though.
Got it.
Kicked it more like Spiro Agnew than Brad Agnew.
Just reckon when these things happen, boys, the North Adelaide players should just go and pop themselves in the goal square in case there's a quick release. Don't all have to be around the footy.
Only man back there at the moment is Hill. Oh, just plucking it out of the stoppage. It's Lyons, wheels around, kicks on its way, kicks it straight to Hill on a score. Margin back to 69 points.
Play on.
Roosters bring the ball in. Gorman with the run. Oh, you're looking for a runner. He got it to Ryswick, who said, well, I didn't really want it. Now, it's a bad hand pass from Craig, but eventually it comes to Curry. Curry with a couple coming at him, draws them pretty well. Armstrong, Allen was running through the middle. Armstrong missed him. Allen was good enough to get it back to him. Agnew came, couldn't shut him down in time, but he did force the turnover. And away comes Sam Shaw. And he goes through the middle straight away to Reid, who dropped what he should have taken. Over the back, Salopek hits the ball hard. Did he drag it in? Umpire says yes, I believe. Yes, he will.
On the ball. Just laying on it, Steve. Just laying on it, mate. Back on the full.
Oh, he's tired. Umpire, he was laying on it, but he's tired.
So Roosters getting the relieving kick. And it's with Delvins, who's been pretty quiet also by his standards
Kick
today.
now, please. Kick now. Play
Certainly
on.
no orphan there.
Line.
Delvins. That's a long, wide, arcing kick for Matthew Wright. Gee, he just keeps it inboard. Only as far as Rudolph cutting it off on the last line of defence there for the Tigers. Daniel Curry, he's probably racked up a few stats too for a big man today. They're looking for Agnew. He just takes it under pressure. So Bradley Agnew. I like the way this kid goes about his footy too.
Yeah, he's been good.
Certainly has. Really honest is the best way you can say about him. Really honest campaigner. Lally to Kirkby playing a long way up the ground. Next in the line will be Salopek. And Salopek certainly has been busy today.
Thanks, Jimmy. Jimmy, where you
Trying
are?
to work his way back into the Port Adelaide lineup. Kicks it to Mules on the edge of the centre circle, or the centre square. Too far out from goal. Benny Mules is going inboard, looking for Trembath. 1-2, couldn't quite hold it. Well Crumb down there at the bottom of the pack. Only as far as Clisby. So Clisby on the last line of defence here for the Roosters. No options really presenting themselves. The Tigers have manned up very well. They're going to go for Allen, as you tend to see so often. Spills off his hands. And going to go for a ball in about 35 metres around from the Tiger goal.
Once again, there doesn't seem to be a lot of method in the way that North move the ball out of their back half compared to the way Glenelg do. They don't have numbers up. They don't seem to be able to have purpose in their movement.
Craig pulled it down. Allen managed to get a 1-2 with Young, then gave it away straight away to Bennett, and then wide out Armstrong in a bit of space. He can run onto it. He gets a good bounce. Holmes pursues him, but he gets the ball inside half forward with a kick. Boris just couldn't bring it in. The front of the pack back, well, haven't called his name many times. Ball knocked away in terms of, it turned to Ryswick. Ryswick was taken to ground. Shaw, he was met heavily and he's gone straight down. Just fancy he got one across the jaw that the umpire didn't see. And it might have been Johnston, who's a teammate at the Crows, who got him. Nice back wall.
Yeah, hard to see how he connected there, but Shaw might have been trying to milk a little bit of a free kick maybe.
So McGinty. And it finally comes to Agnew, so they share it pretty well again, and then Agnew's kick was poor, wasn't it? Blee, whose kicking hasn't been the greatest, that time got it up in the direction of Alloway. Great punch from Rudolph, and then away came Milne, and then wide he went. And Trembath, or rather Davenport, just slows things down. Good experience from Jason Davenport. Not sure about the kick, wasn't the greatest. Sat up just a bit, and now we get a ball up.
Davenport read the game really well then. Because Glenelg had their numbers back, he had no one to kick to, so he slowed the game down until he was forced to play on by the umpire and still forced another stoppage.
Just fancy that a lot of their pre-season, Glenelg, has been spent on those spot-up kicks over 30 to 40 metres.
Spills to Allen. Allen unloads from 45 metres out, kicks on its way. A belated major for the Triple Magarey medalist in his 100th game. There won't be too many celebrations there. Very low-key goal. Margin is back to 63 points. He certainly hasn't been their worst, Rocket.
Yeah, he's been trying all day, and that's that small representation we've been looking for. It's a good finish. He's tried his hardest. He seems to be a bit of a one-man band, doesn't it? I'm sure they don't want it to be like that, but Allen has kept trying all day.
Yeah, Rod, Allen 30 possessions to go with his one goal.
Just another day out, really, for James Allen. That's what we expect. I think across his career, he would average somewhere around that mark, wouldn't he? 100 games. What's that, 3,000 possessions? Here's Lyons out of the middle. Immediately, Glenelg are going to hit back. Allen, his namesake from the Bays. Kirkby, wonderful mark in front of the eyes. And it can't be play on advantage, boys. There was no free kick, and as much as Angus Lally will enjoy that, and as much as Davenport was looking back at the umpire as if to say, well, come on, why can't you do that? It was a mark.
This is a great mark, and he's been good all day. Gets his hands up, and was always going to be paid.
So, the man on the mark stands 60 from goal, and Kirkby, perhaps exhausted by his effort, misses Hender on the lead, and it's Clisby who dives across and helps out his teammate Keller, and there hasn't been enough of that this afternoon. In fact, it wasn't Clisby, it was Young, but there hasn't been enough of that cut-off on the lead.
And looking for some positives for North, Keller has been good. He's gone on to Hender. He's tried to slow down one of the better players and done a good job of it. He's competitive there again.
And in fact, he's won possession. Just got it out there. Blee onto his left foot. That was not 15 somehow, but Bennett tries to spot Boris, who's about 80 metres away, leading up and surrounded by a bunch of Tiger Cubs who are ready to take the ball away, and then the eldest of them, in Rudolph, eventually got possession. Now Tenace, and he's at right half back.
So Tenace, he was looking for Bradley, but Wright moves in and cuts it off. That mark back there, not 15. I hope that umpire's not a real estate salesman. Bennett brings it inboard. Looking for Allen coming up for disposal, number 31. Averaged 35 disposals a game last year and was the leading possession getter, even missing 3 games. He was looking for Alloway. Beats him over the boundary line, and we're going to have a throw-in.
Alloway's struggled a bit today, hasn't he, for such a great player. He's been up against it when he's been forward early, then he went back, he's gone forward again and hasn't really had much impression on this game.
Yeah, it's one of those things with footy, I suppose, Rod. Some days you just can't get near it, and other days you can't get out of the way of it. Glenelg reading it away at the stoppage. Lyons again, who has been so busy today, he's had no trouble finding the ball whatsoever. Jared Lyons, as we mentioned, certainly due for higher honours if he gets a call up, but it's a tough team to break into at the moment, Adelaide. Tigers moving off half back. Oh, good strong mark taken over the top there by Young. He's tried hard. Looking for Ivans. Ivans looks to go back inboard to Keller, unloading into the 50. Bit of an up and under disposal. Alloway, he's going to try and get the clear disposal away, and does. Roosters should almost get the mark there. No, well punched away. They've got numbers here, though, the Roosters at the stoppage. Comes back there to Johnston. He's looking for a mark in the 50. He got it. Unfortunately, it wasn't to any of his teammates.
Thanks, buddy.
The Tigers relieving again. They've been so good at cutting off the forward thrust of the Roosters all day. Hinder pushing a long way up the ground, trying to fly for the mark. He's gotten in the back of the Roosters' opponent, so it's going to be Ivans. 75 metres out from goal. Brings it inboard to Keller. Keller wheeling around, goes by hand to Clisby. Clisby switching across the ground to Young. Young puts on the afterburners. Chips it into the 50-metre arc. He's looking for a mark in there, but the Tigers have got plenty of numbers back. Tenace. Next in line will be Salopek. Salopek's got a couple lining up for it, but the Roosters are trying to shut them down.
Agnew gave him the lead in the corridor, and he decided against that, and he's still holding on to it. And finally, the umpire calls Salopek to play on. Lally was the lead-up man. Fell to the back. Lee goes back, and then he has to use a 1-2 with Keller, who does pretty well. Now they've got some space to work in through Bennett. Bennett has some players in the corridor open and turned the ball straight over. And McGinty the other way, and he just goes long and direct and misses his target. This game is falling apart. Keller, and there's more evidence. Keller, who may have been kicking it to one of his own players out there, he gets the great A-grade bounce, Armstrong. It stays in, and then he goes down the line. Ryswick, and now Young, just on centre wing. He wheels around, can't find a target. He's searching hard, keeps it too low in the end. Johnston did well to stand up. Off the Delvins, haven't called him much this afternoon, and we have called this man fairly often. James Allen with a mark, and he is such quality. You'd back him from here. He's on the wrong side for a right footer. Not much to look at in terms of the goals. Jimmy Allen has missed it. He is mortal after all.
Well, they found Allen, and he has been bobbing up everywhere today.
See, going to score from the Nord Oval shortly. Comes back in, and Pitt takes the mark. So Pitt in the back pocket. It's Nord leading the Eagles by 93 points. Heavens above. Sam Shaw at centre half back. We'll bring you vision from that game after the action's finished here at Prospect. Salopek takes it at half back. Wouldn't mind getting Salopek stats in a minute, Corey. I reckon he's up to around the 26-27 mark by now. Tips it over the top, looking for Tenace. Just slips through his fingers, one of the rare errors he's made today. Ivans bundles it over the boundary line, and we're going to have a throw-in.
Salopek's got better as the game's gone on, hasn't he? I guess that fitness from the AFL level will certainly be helping him as he works his way back into the Port Adelaide team.
Yeah, 26 possessions, Rod, with 17 marks.
Yeah, 26. He should get a job in stats. Ryswick looks to wheel around onto the right foot. Spots up a target at centre half forward, and it's Tearley. Tearley had a real case of the yips in front of goal last year. And it's improved this year. He's obviously been working on something in the off-season. No prizes for guessing what. Margin back now to 56 points.
Yeah, good goal by Teely. He found the ball and came through on his left foot. See here as he played on. It's a really good effort with Pitt there on the mark and snuck it in. Good goal. Well done. North need a fair bit more of that if they want to win this last quarter.
Just noticed how Pitt faded to his left, expecting that Teely was not going to go that side. And Teely, of course, wheeled around the left foot, kicked the goal.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? We think that they should all be aware of those left-footers in particular.
Well, it's just a face-saving effort at the moment for North Adelaide. They've been comprehensively beaten by Glenelg, who look like they've got something going this season after it was a poor exit anyway from the finals. Ignominious was the word I was looking for. Defeat in the elimination final last year to South Adelaide.
The scary part is, as they meld together and play together as a team, they should improve Glenelg. They've already kicked 16, 13, a bit over 3 quarters, which is fantastic.
Well, all of a sudden their forward line with Kirkby up there, Hender looks very dangerous if he can stay fit. And they've got some other options with Trembath as well. And they've had some success in the lower grades, Glenelg, in the last 2 or 3 years, so they've got plenty to work with. Here's Backwell. He drives it long and high and hopeful into the forward area for North Adelaide. Milne recovers pretty well. Surely that was holding. No. And that wasn't high either. Young got out of there. Bennett missed his target. And it's indicative of the afternoon for North Adelaide. They just haven't been able to hit their targets. That's a final score from the parade, by the way. 93-point thrashing dealt out to the Eagles by Norwood. Nathan Bassett will be satisfied that his slight rejig of his side has gone pretty well. We'll have a look at some highlights after we get the final siren here as the ball scrambles forward for the minor score. Jimmy Allen. Another good afternoon in terms of statistics for the 3-time McGarry medalist, but not in terms of results.
Biggest worry for Josh Franco, boys. North have led the disposals. They've led the centre breaks, and they're only 11 behind on the inside 50s, and yet they're trailing by 55 points. Rocket, that suggests there's something badly breaking down up forward.
Well, they're certainly not efficient in the way they go forward, but they'll use the ball a lot better and get more, obviously, score more from their forward 50 entries. So I'd say they're better rehearsed. They're doing it a lot better.
Agnew sits and waits for it on the 50. This will cap off the icing on the day for a good day for the young man. Oh, you bet your bottom dollar it does. Brad Agnew puts it through for his first, not really known as a goal kicker, his third on SANFL, probably one of his best.
There's another one of the young brigade at Glenelg who have stamped their authority on this game. Started on interchange. You watch Agnew here. This is good. He had a metre, took off, and again, confidently approached the goals, kicked the goal. Very worthy of that. He's played a bit in the midfield since he's come onto the ground and has been a competent performer today.
Rod, what Chris Massey's been able to do, Brad Agnew sat the majority of the first quarter on the bench, went onto a wing for a little bit in the second quarter, and like you said, though, he's been able to go and play centre for the majority of this second half. So really good experience and great use of his players by Chris Massey.
Yeah, it's great coaching to open them up to that experience, and he just gets the clearance again now.
The other half forward, strong mark again. They've had so many options, Glenelg. Kirkby, he just drops it short, missed Trembath, it fell to the back. Ivans, who's been honest, always is. Hand pass was awful. Lyons intercepts from 40, and he isn't able quite to celebrate. Tell you what, the hands were up early from Davenport. He was willing to celebrate on his behalf.
Not yet.
James Allen takes it at half-back, looking for Ivans.
Play on.
Ivans wheels around. Playing a long way up the ground here. Johnston.
Now. Play on.
Keeping it on the outer side. He's looking out there for Alloway, but Rudolph just drops him nicely and fills the hole.
Thanks,
Semi Rudolph, he took a bit of time to get back into the rhythm last year. Of course, he didn't have the ear off, but he's certainly a very important member of the Glenelg defence now. Probably not the kicking coach. Gives it back to Johnston.
Play on.
Lewis Johnston, he's certainly presented all day, so is this man, James Allen.
Ty, thank you.
Coming up for disposal number 34 or thereabouts. Chipping over the top. Next in the line is Teely. He's coming up for disposal, number 27, would you believe? Over the top. He's looking for Johnston. They're going to pay that. Yep, and rightly so. Johnston really has tried hard to present all day, Rod.
He has. He's been good since he's gone forward. And he gets an opportunity to finish with a goal here.
Lewis Johnston kicked 3 goals in his first game of senior SANFL with North Adelaide last week. He's looking to maintain the average, bring the margin back to 56 points. Josh Franco, not a happy camper no matter what happens with this kick, you would think. So Lewis Johnston, try and get the margin back to under 10 goals. Kicks on its way. Lewis Johnston maintains his average of 3 goals per SANFL match. Glenelg, 17 goals, 14, 116 have defeated North Adelaide, 9 goals, 660 in a comprehensive effort. Many of us had Glenelg penciled in for the bottom 2, Rocket. I'll tell you what, they're going to give it a shake if they play this all season.
Gee, they're amazing, and you would think they're only going to get better as they learn how each other plays, but I think they've done a lot of work on that since late last year when pre-season started. Clearly, Chris Massey knows what he's doing as a coach, has this team really ready to do their best. North Adelaide won the last quarter, which is something to take out of the game. It is hard to win 4 quarters, but great effort by Glenelg.
Yeah, it's just a wonderful performance for the Bays, a great start to the season, and they would be very, very happy with that performance. So one of the better players on the ground, the captain of the Bays, Ty Allen. He's done everything at the Bays, hasn't he? He's won a reserves best and fairest twice, and he's won a couple of league best and fairests. He finished very high up in the McGarry medal as well, and he had a wonderful afternoon this afternoon, Ty Allen. Certainly, captaincy looks easy when you win your first 2 games of the season. Ben Knights.
Thanks, Crossy. Well, Ty, a leadership game from you, mate. You really put your head over the footy early and set the precedent for the rest of the game, but fantastic the way all the boys came with you.
Yeah, that's one thing with the pre-season. Everybody doing their part, and like today, I think there's a really good team effort by the boys.
And Mass has obviously put it on the boys with a big changeover and a big turnover in players, that he just wants guys that are committed.
That's exactly right. Everybody doing their role, doing a little bit for the team, and you get a team result.
And I thought you were sensational yourself, mate, but great to see a bit of experience getting to some of those younger guys around you as well on board.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Agnew and Bradley, and it's been awesome for me, just a new lease on life for the whole group.
And going forward, you managed to find a lot of space. You used the fat side really well, and I thought you've got a pretty dangerous-looking forward line.
Yeah, once we get in quick to like Rory and Button and young Louis Hender, it looks good for the future.
And Louis Hender kicked a bag last week, played his part again today, so a good prospect for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Just hoping I don't have to get drafted.
Yeah, absolutely. And 2 games, mate, now, 2 wins, and a big game next week against the Eagles. They've been pumped today by Norwood.
Yeah, like I said, we're just going to do their team thing. Everybody do their part, and result takes care of itself.
Well played today, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks, boys. Cheers.
Ty Allen, decorated Glenelg footballer, now captain of the club, and as Benny just mentioned there, they play the Eagles, coming off an absolute flogging next week, Glenelg.
Yeah, well, it's a good prospect for them. Clearly, the Eagles with their pants down and a chance to go 3 and zip in the season be a fantastic start. But Ty Allen, he just set the standard from the start of the game. He's so tough over the ball, and he took the young blokes with him, and they were fantastic. Great midfield effort all day. Their forward line was terrific, lots of scoring options, and their back line was almost impenetrable, if that's a word, and they were great all day.
You can see just talking about things going forward, no doubt, as much as they are at looking back at what happened this afternoon. So we can look back at what happened this afternoon, and it was just a magnificent performance from the Tigers. They kicked 5 goals forward to just 1 goal in the opening quarter. It set the tone for what was going to happen, and Lewis Hender was a big part of it.
Lewis Hender was great. He was a spark up forward early, but winning first quarters is so critical. Glenelg got away to a fast start, and of course North had to chase then. There was no scoreboard pressure, and that's the way to do it in any football, is to try and win first quarters, and Glenelg were great at it today, and they carried it on for the whole 4 quarters. While they didn't win the last quarter, the game was beyond doubt at 3/4 time.
What was that record that North Adelaide came into the season with from last season?
Yeah, well, they won 6 out of 20 first quarters last year, and they lost their first quarter last week. So they're just areas of the game you need to improve on to give yourself best chance of winning, and it's somewhere that Josh Franco really needs to work hard with his team to give North best chance of winning games this year.
I don't know how much longer they'll have Stephen Salopek or for that matter Jared Lyons if they keep up their performance this afternoon. One of them, of course, tied to the Power 1 to Adelaide. They will get a chance at a high level.
Yeah, I'm sure Jared Lyons, he's got AFL footy written all over him, and Salopek is a proven performer at the level as well. Great to have them competing well for Glenelg today, and they form part of that midfield battery that were fantastic.
While we talk about that, Brad Agnew, we mentioned he'd got a run in the midfield today, but he's just as important as those two players we mentioned, because he's going to be there long term as we go through quarter by quarter. 28 points the margin at quarter of time in favour of the Tigers, the visitors here this afternoon. 36 at half time, out to 63 points at three-quarter time, and they just eased off some of the pressure, perhaps, Glenelg in that final term. 56 points the final margin. The goal kickers, well, they were few and far between in so many ways. Lewis Johnston kicked that goal after the final siren for his third of the afternoon to lead the way for the Roosters. And for the Tigers, oh, we know Reid popped up with 3. There were options all over the forward line with Hender, Trembath, Lyons and Davenport all playing their part with a couple of goals each. 17 goals, 14, 31 scoring shots to 15. Tells the story as much as anything else of the afternoon for the Tigers, and the statistics very much reflective of what happened.
Yeah, well, the inside 50s is the one. Glenelg went in 56 times. North started to get some back later in the game, but their scoring was fantastic, Glenelg. To score that many times when you go inside means that you're doing it well, doing it efficiently. The centre break surprisingly went to the Roosters in the end, but I think most of the ball around the stoppages was won and used better by Glenelg.
Tigers by 56 points. What a way to win their 12th game out of their last 13 games out of the last 14 here at Prospect. Correct that stat. It's 12 of their last 13 games they've won here at Prospect, and North Adelaide beat them last season. It's the only time in their past 13 visits that the Tigers have lost. Well, let's go on to some of the better players on the ground. And this afternoon, Stephen Salopek, we've mentioned him already, fantastic player, and he just showed all class.
He did. He's a very good player. He's in and under. He can work outside as well. And today he had a big impact on the game. He had some friends with him. He had a lot of teammates that were doing well. And it makes it easier when one side's got an Allen who's trying to do everything and Glenelg could share it around. They had 5 or 6 midfielders that were great, but Salopek in particular stamped his authority on the game and was a really good contributor.
121 games of AFL experience, and look, he had some handy partners as well in there, and we saw Kane Tenace was one of them, Jason Davenport another, so there were plenty of options that Glenelg had all across the ground, and look, many of the players that they'd be satisfied with, and the winning coach down in the rooms, Chris Massey, is with Ben Knights.
Thanks, Neil. Well, Chris, a really fantastic effort from Way to Go there today.
Yeah, it was a really consistent effort, as you're saying, so really pleased with how the guys went about it. Obviously the mindset, as we spoke about before, was to be really positive, and I thought the guys played a good brand of footy today.
You talked about a commitment at the start of the game, that you're only interested in blokes that would commit to the team and commit to the, the team moving forward. Yep. That was 22 or 21 guys that really did that today?
Yeah, no doubt. There was no standouts. Everyone played their role. I was just really pleased that the guys are really gelling together. You know, considering we had a turnover of 20 players around November, all of a sudden the pre-season, the work that they've done, and they're really proud about the way they've put in. They've got a real good foundation, and no doubt that the club and the playing group are heading in the right direction.
I thought your forward line worked really well today. There was a lot of fast movement going forward, but the way they moved to the fat side, the way they actually made space for each other, that was really important.
Yeah, they did work in and out of space for each other. So there was the team leading, and ability of guys to lead in and out of space for each other is something we highlight during the week, especially early on. And I thought Josh Trembath did that very well. His ability to lead in and out of space for a Rory Kirkby coming in behind was outstanding. So Louis Hender as well up there, and Ben Reid. but most importantly, our defensive pressure up forward was very good again.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, it really did help and held the ball in. I thought your disposal by foot was excellent as well. You made a point of really holding onto the ball and delivering as you moved the ball up the ground, and that also enabled you to get a bit more space going forward.
Yeah, all the quality sides are very calm and composed with the footy, so ability to know when to go and when to not go and hit the lead up versus obviously taking and breaking and moving forward. The calmness and the decision making on when to execute was very good. It was really good today.
Well done, Mass. 2 wins from 2 to start the season. Fantastic start. You've got the Eagles next week, who've had a big loss to Norwood today. So good luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously the loss last year, so we've got a fair bit to answer for. So no doubt, Eagles will be competitive next week, and it'll be a very solid game, no doubt.
Thanks, Chris. Good luck.
No problem. Cheers.
Chris Massey, and I'm sure he'd be satisfied with that this afternoon, but you can tell he's got a very calm approach, and it won't be easy going into a game against the Eagles coming off such losses as they've had.
Yeah, it won't be, but isn't he an impressive character? Like, he obviously knows what he's doing. I'm sure they've been working on all areas of the ground, and they were dominant in those 3 areas today because they've worked at them, and you could see by the way he was talking then that they had been working. He's happy that it worked out. Talking about team leading in the forward line and guys, running into space behind was really good, really impressive.
Well, one of the players who's the team leader, we've already spoken to him, Ty Allen. He's got our goal of the day. And I'll tell you what, there were plenty of goals to choose from for the Tigers. There's no doubt about that. But just Ty Allen, his ability to find space, rove it off the pack. And look, it's a rarity for him to be kicking the ball as much. And I'm pretty sure they've had a chat to him about just doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when he found that space in front of him, he thought it was Christmas. So he just took advantage of it and kicked a great goal. He's so good in tight, and it's great to see him get the opportunity to kick a goal and enjoy that as well.
We'll move on to the mark of the day. And Lewis Hender was very good in front of goals, but he let one slip slightly, and all it did was set up our mark of the day for Warwick McGinty. That is my memory, and that's what happened.
Yeah, Hender pops
faded.
it up.
Yep.
And McGinty, a strong mark. Gee, when you've got ruckman that can go forward and do this, you're blessed. And if he can keep doing that consistently throughout the season, he's going to be a good foil for the Tigers up forward.
Well, there's plenty to look forward to in the SANFL, no doubt about that. But let's have a look through just what's unfolded at Easter with West Adelaide beating Central District by 16 points to open the round on Holy Thursday. On Good Friday, first time over the years, we've seen a Good Friday match. It was down at Noarlunga, and Sturt over South Adelaide by 13 points. Glenelg this afternoon convincingly by 56 points, and it wasn't much closer at the parade. In fact, it was worse, wasn't it? 93 points, Norwood over the Eagles, and Norwood, well, taking a little bit of pride back after being thrashed by the Eagles last year in the preliminary final. And as we go down to the boys on the boundary, look, that's just such a shock result, Chris, isn't it? That one at the parade. Not for you, of course. As a Redlegs fan, you would have always been confident.
Don't forget this man alongside me played for them too. Look, probably the size of the margin's more a surprise than anything else, boys. I think most of us thought that Norwood would probably get the game in the bag. But, I mean, really, 93 points there for the reigning premiers, Ben. That's a massive surprise.
It certainly is. And, I mean, Norwood have started well in terms of knocking off Centrals last week and Eagles this week. It is a big surprise that they won so convincingly, with the fact that even though the Eagles have come back off a shorter break, but a long way back because they've had a lot of injuries and a lot of guys just that little bit underdone at the start of pre-season, as we heard from Mickey Godden last week. But Norwood obviously finding a few new recruits and really firing well early in the season.
And they're getting the benefit of the AFL-listed players there too. A nice goal there from Simon Phillips. Now, if he plays for them more often than not, they do tend to get up and about the Redlegs quite early. And as you mentioned, Ben Warren, he's a handy recruit for them too, coming over from a year off after being so good with South Adelaide. Michael Newton, if he can get his hands on it. Nathan Batsanis was best on ground last week against Central District. The interesting thing that I keep hearing from over there is the Nathan Eagleson story. That's unfolding gradually. Didn't play reserves, and my understanding there may be more in that. He may have possibly played his last game at the club.
Well, it is interesting you talk about Eags, because there was interest in whether or not he'd actually go on this year as well. So there's a little bit of, talk that maybe he'd give it away, or maybe Nathan Bassett was in his ear a little bit at the end of last year. Whether or not that has played a part in what's happened today, who knows?
Well, it certainly didn't play a part in the performance being awful. You could say that they've been very good this afternoon, the Redlegs, and they look like, again, the sort of powerful unit that took them to a grand final 2 years ago, Rod.
Yeah, it seems to be independent of the personnel, doesn't it? Which again comes down to coaching. Like, they've had personnel changed over the last couple of years. Guys go on and play AFL, but they're still playing fantastic footy. So hats off to Nathan Bassett. Bit of a change at the Eagles with Mark McKenzie actually living out of the state, and Luke Powell, now captain, hasn't had a great start to his captaincy, Powley, and I'm sure these guys will regroup and they'll still be a formidable team as the season wears on. That's a huge score too, boys. 19 goals 14 to just 5 goals 5. I guess it shows, look, the Eagles have crashed somewhat, but it also shows that Norwood's got plenty of power up forward.
And that's been one criticism of Nord over the years too, that under Nathan Bassett they win games, but it's like with 9-10 goals or thereabouts, and they got away with that last week against Central's, Ben. But to kick 19 goals against the reigning Premier, that's a good sign for them if they can keep up that sort of output throughout the year.
It certainly is, and they're getting goals from some of the guys that maybe been on the outer for a couple of years, blokes like Joshy Donoghue as well. So, like you talked about Simon Phillips, their small forwards are very important, and be interesting to see who kicked those goals from today. Going to have a quick look at the report from the other night on Holy Thursday. It was an unholy mess, this report, I think, with Nat Caruso being booked for his front-on assault on O'Brien for Central District. Got the feeling this might go away very quickly, Chris.
Look, Crossy, you and I were sitting alongside each other when this happened. I think this will get thrown out. It's one of those things that it just happens in football. I think, Caruso, it looks a little bit messy, Ben, but I don't think there's really a lot in it from a pure football sense.
No, I've always said that it's not nice to be reported early in the season when they're trying to set the precedents for the year. So it was a bit messy. I think you'll be right with that one.
The Daniel Webb incident's probably a slightly different one, I suppose, there. Now, this occurred late in the piece there, and you look on the footage here, look, Daniel Webb looks up and he sees him coming. That doesn't look good at all, I've got to be honest there, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if Daniel Webb does get a game for that one, because you've got to protect the head. It's got to be sacrosanct, Ben, and he does look up and see the opponent coming and still does it.
Well, we know that they always like to protect the head, so you could be exactly right there.
We'll protect your heads for next week, hey? And we'll see you then. Thanks for your company this afternoon. Ben Knights and Chris Kendall down on the boundary. Let's look ahead to what's coming up next week on ABC One on Grandstand's coverage of the SANFL. Friday night, West against North Adelaide. We'll have highlights of that, of course, on Saturday when we journey out to Elizabeth for Centrals to take on South Adelaide. The Eagles playing Glenelg. That shapes a really interesting match now. And Port Adelaide against Norwood on Sunday at Alberton. That should be a fantastic clash. They always are. Rod, as you look at the competition right now, has anybody settled you in terms of, favourites or look like they're going well?
Oh, there's sides that look like they're going well. Certainly Sturt to start the way that they've started under Seamus Maloney's been great. To see Glenelg do what they're doing today, you always expect Central and Eagles to be around the mark. West Adelaide started well last year and started this year well. It's going to be a close competition. North Adelaide seem to be a little bit off the pace, and I'd be worried if I was a North supporter the way they played today.
Well, the Tigers, you'd be very happy at the way they're travelling at the moment, but they do have a history, the Tigers, of travelling very well and then falling in a heap. I'm not putting the mockers on. I'm just saying those are the facts of history. But a fantastic victory this afternoon. 56 points, the Tigers, over their rivals, the Roosters. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're going to enjoy next week. Centrals against South Adelaide. Of course, Centrals have been bad for a long time in the last couple of weeks, I should say. They have been good for a long time. The last couple of weeks have been bad. We'll see what they can produce next week. Thanks for your company. We'll see you then.